Okay, so I could not find the one quiz two specifically. I had taken the end stem in which you can figure out week 1 to 8. Okay, and then you can go about it. I'll send you that. So I've shared this in the G chat. This is for end term specifically, but then you can have the part from 1 to 8. So I've gone about through week 1 to 12 in this, and then in each broken them down into different parts. So each week,
Sir, could you please pin that?
yeah. Just a minute, let me clarify if this is the one that I'm talking about. Yes, this is the one. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's start with the mock quiz. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So this mock is in the supplementary mock pianist and then quiz two. All right. And anything you want deep dive on, I can do that. We can do it in code and then we can change the parameters and such. And then we can try different things out in a particular kind of question if you have any more doubts on that. All right, let's start. So this is the first question. Consider the following JavaScript program and predict the output after 10 seconds. Okay, so read the question carefully. It says predict the output after 10 seconds if executed. So certain things are there in the questions. So these things you have to read carefully. It's not just asking about the result right now. It's asking about after 10 seconds what will be the result. And you can see it's a promise. How does a promise resolve? What are the two ways in which we can resolve promises?
Resolve and reject.
There are like dot then dot catch one way.
Yeah.
Another way is async await, right? So in this we are using dot then dot catch. What is happening here? First we are creating a new promise, right? New promise. Then we are taking the callback functions resolve and reject. The order matters here, right? The first one is always the resolve. Second one is always the reject, no matter what you name it. All right. And what is happening inside it? There is a set timeout, and then set timeout is calling the resolve function with the statement one as a string, and this will be executed after 2 seconds. Okay, everyone clear with this?
Yes.
Okay. And then after this is resolved, dot then will execute, and what will it log? Console.log statement two. It will log statement two. Okay, and then return R. What is this R? First question: what is this R?
Statement one.
Statement one. See, R is the parameter that dot then is getting. Where is this getting from? It is getting from the resolve promise. The resolve promise has a string statement one in it. Okay, so this R becomes statement one when the promise gets resolved. And in here in dot then we are not printing out statement one. We are printing statement. So this statement one is not printed anywhere right now. Only statement two is printed. So statement two will be at the top, and then we are returning R. So since we are returning R, what will be the R for the next dot then?
Statement 1.
Yes, same R, statement one. Okay, any doubt about this? Anyone else?
Mm.
Yeah.
No.
If we
Sir,
were
could you
actually putting,
please explain again?
Okay.
can I ask a question before we go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
When we are actually putting a set timeout, why would it actually go to then? Because I thought it only after it goes through the first step, it will go to the second.
Yes, it will go to the then because that command is calling this resolve function. We took the resolve function in the promise, right?
Hmm.
If we call the resolve function, it will be a success. It will be marked as a success.
Okay, the moment it calls, it's a success. What it
Yes.
does with the resolve is not really relevant.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank
So
you.
in set command, are calling this function, it resolves.
Okay,
Since that resolve is called, then it goes to the success portion. If it was a reject being called here inside set command, so it will directly go to the class or the second parameter, second callback function of the set.
sorry, once again, if it is reject also, it should go to the then, right?
No, if it's a
If it is
reject, then it will go to the class directly.
catch directly, okay.
Okay. Dot
Even if there is a timer
when it's
associated with it.
yes, the timer is just calling it later on. That's it. What matters inside a promise is resolve is called or reject is called. Which of the parameters are which of the callback functions are called.
Hmm. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
There was
Sir,
one more question.
if then add two callback functions, then if it rejects, it will go to the second callback. It will not go to catch then.
Just a minute. Hello? Yeah, just a minute. My Wi-Fi connection.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah. Am I there? Audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Audible,
Yeah.
audible.
So what were you asking?
So if then add two callback functions,
Hmm.
and then if the promise rejects, then it will go to the second callback of then, right? Then it won't go to the catch.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Sorry.
Okay. Any doubt about this?
So,
Yeah.
but here all the then
If
function
we have
has have only one callback, so it has to go to catch.
it is yeah. In here we have only one callback and then the R, this one. Then it's only when it is resolved. This happens.
No,
Okay.
if there
So
is a
hello.
second callback and there is a reject, then it goes to the second then, is it?
Yes.
You mean to say R arrow function, if let's say
Hello.
there is another arrow function which is stating S, then it will go to the second one S.
Yes, okay. Okay. Yeah. One more question was there?
So what is the answer, sir?
Yeah. The answer would be I did not come to the answer yet. So first, what is printed? Statement two. Okay. We are clear with this. Then dot this dot then R console dot log R. This console dot log R is the statement one. So first statement two, then statement one, and this is one of the tricky parts. What is the R over here in the next then?
Undefined.
Statement one. No, no. The R returned in the previous dot then. That means nothing.
This the return statement is not here. Okay, there is no return over here. So if it's, there's a no return, there's nothing being returned there, then it will be undefined. Okay. If nothing is being returned, see, for a previous one, we had returned something. We had returned R. Okay. We had returned R. So the parameter over here became whatever was returned from the previous one, which is the statement one. Okay. But for the next then, nothing is being returned. That's why
Sir,
it becomes undefined. This one is undefined.
sir, R is statement 2, no, sir?
Yes, this blue R is statement two. Oh, sorry,
Right?
statement one.
So statement 2, no, sir. Return R you are given in the above
Yeah,
lines.
but what is R? What is R here? What is R here? R is the one that I got from the parameter,
Yes, sir.
right?
Statement 2, no, sir.
So what did we get from the parameter? We got this. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, this statement one is execute after the 2000 means 2 seconds, no?
No, the dot then dot catch will execute only when the promise is resolved or rejected. So
But
only when
that
it is
hmm,
resolved,
hmm,
when it is resolved, then only all the action will take place.
okay. Sir, that set timeout in the first resolved and reject statement is comma 2000. What is that mean?
This means 2 seconds,
2 seconds.
milliseconds,
Okay.
2000 milliseconds.
Okay.
If you don't mind me interrupting, can I understand this once again better? Okay, it goes through the resolution. I mean, first set timeout, it
Do you want me
resolves.
to code this up and then show it to you?
Perhaps it will be better.
Sir, when R is when statement 1, R is statement 1, then why is saying, sir, undefined?
Just a minute, I'll show that. Okay. So first of all, it's a promise. So I'm creating a new promise over here. Okay, new promise, and then it has two callback functions in it, resolve and reject. You can name it anything. Okay, name it anything, but the the positions matter. First one is resolve, second one is reject. In here, what I'm gonna do? Call a resolve function with something like one over here. Okay, and I say dot then I say let's say console.log a. This a should come from then, right? A and then callback then. Okay, better to write it in one line. Okay, this is very simple. What will it do? Create a new promise, resolve it, and once it gets resolved, the dot then will execute, and this a will take the value of whatever was resolved. Right? A will take the value of whatever was resolved. That means a will take the value of one. Fine. And then we are printing out this one. I will move this to the right. Anyone knows how to do that? There is no option over here. Okay, never mind.
Better to use that browser online JS console.
Sir, you need to right click somewhere over there, yeah, on the terminal, yeah. Right click and then yeah, panel
Ah,
position.
okay.
Oh,
I think this works. Okay. So when I say I'm using Node, but it will be the same in the browser as well. Okay, so one gets printed, right? Where is this one coming from? Whenever I use the resolve or reject, I give a parameter in the then. That parameter becomes whatever was returned from the resolve or reject. Okay, is that clear? Is it
Yeah,
fine?
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So next up, if I chain multiple things, if I chain something, dot then again, and then take another B in this case. Doesn't matter. The values don't matter. The console.log B. What will happen here for the B part?
Undefined, sir. Nothing is written.
So because this particular then did not return anything, dot then for the next B would be undefined. Okay. Let me let me execute that again and then show it to you. Okay. One and undefined. This is also fine.
Yeah.
What if I return something else over here? Instead of console.log A, I say I return two. I print out two and then return something else. I return maybe A. For this to work, I have to make it something else. Okay. I return A and then I just print out two. What is happening over here? Line number 4, we are printing out two. Okay, on the console you'll see two and we are returning A. What is this A?
One.
This A is the one that we got from the resolve function, right? This resolve got executed. This A became one, and we are returning that one, right? And then what is B now? Since something was returned from the previous set, what does this B become?
One only.
One
One.
only. Okay. And then we are console.log B. So now this B is one again. So first we get printed two, then one. Execute it. Okay, you see two and one. Makes sense now?
Yeah.
Sir, then again it is written in the problem, then B, no, sir, again, second time also.
Ah. So the logic, I think you got it. See, the logic is basically if something is returned from the dot previous then that will be the parameter in that's one, okay. So in here we what is anything being returned from the B then block?
No.
Is anything
Sir,
returned over?
sir, please put is
Nothing.
B and the last statement also, sir. Please put B, B at the
So what?
last statement also, B.
I want B. It doesn't
Sir,
matter.
no, sir, B is been given value 1, no, sir.
Oh, the names don't matter over here. Because this is scope to this particular thing. That B, you can't access the same B in the next step. And you can't access the same B in the next step. Okay, so okay, it doesn't matter. What
Okay.
will happen? In here, B gets undefined and no, B is one. Right. B is one. And for the next then, what is the B? Is anything being returned from line number 8?
No.
Nothing is being returned. So no return. So that means the next B is undefined. Right? Everyone clear with this?
Yeah.
Let me run
Yes.
it.
Here.
Okay, so 2, 1, undefined. So basically, it depends what is being returned from the previous one. That is the value that I'm getting in the parameter.
Uh,
Okay.
the same thing, may I request something? This is for resolution. For rejection, Prashant was mentioning something like it is not going to work directly go to cache, but it'll go to the second, then is what he was saying. Can you just show that, please?
So either the second then or the cache. So let's have a glance over it.
Sir, like second function of them.
Second function, yeah, either the second function or one. So this is, I only gave one over here, right? I can have comma and then give another callback function. So either this or the catch, whichever comes first, basically, whichever catches that. Let me show that to you. Okay. So in here, I don't have a second parameter in there. I have a catch block. And the promise, I am rejecting the promise. Okay. So we have this will not execute because why will this not execute? This
Rejecting.
will only execute for a success. Okay. So this is rejection, but this will execute for success. This will execute for success. It will finally go to the catch directly. Okay. So I got 21. Let's do it in minus. Okay. So let me have it as error. Then this error gets printed. That is fine.
So it's directly going to the catch.
Yes. And if I have a second callback,
Mm-hmm.
okay. If this is the case, what should happen? Let's take a guess. Can you guess? Basically, this does the same thing as the catch. So, firstly, the second, this will execute. What happens afterwards? That is the question. This will execute. Everything is you're okay with it, right? This will execute.
Both
What
the thens
happens
will,
after this?
both the thens will get printed.
Yes.
Line
Okay.
89.
So once the error has been caught, then that means you can have the normal flow of the program. Once that should be clear. Once the error has been caught, then it's a normal flow. There is no error then, unless I throw a new error to it.
So this error callback function that you have written, this is inside then, right?
Yeah, you have a. How do I make it more smooth?
No, I mean, so if this gets
Yeah,
rejected,
it's inside there.
if we talk about rejection, then why would it even get inside a then?
Then has a functionality in which you can have. So then basically means you can have whatever happens, you can have a down there. Either reject or resolve. But generally we use only the resolve one. But it can have two callback functions as well. This is one callback function, this is another callback function. So the second callback function is for the rejection part. First callback function is for the success part. That's how it's designed.
So if we run this, it will be ERR and then an error. Both will be printed. How is that?
Not error, only error. So this string was returned, right? So only error will be returned, printed.
And then undefined,
And
sir.
then yeah, and then since we are not returning anything from here, this becomes undefined. Since becomes undefined, then
Sir, reject instead of
yeah,
error if you put A, what will happen, sir? You are writing the
parameters don't matter at
second
all.
line.
The
Second
the
line.
names the names don't matter. The
So
names don't
second,
matter.
no, sorry, the second
The
line.
variable names don't matter.
So that
Yeah,
reject, sir,
No,
second.
sir, reject, second line, sir, second line. Instead of reject, you write error.
second line.
Reject in that error A.
That's a
So
string you're
reject
returning,
and
is it
then
not?
Reject, you put A, sir. A,
write
sir.
A.
A. Instead of error, A. Yeah.
Just
Yes.
string it. So this will be what will this be? This it's not in the scope. A is not in the scope here. There is no A defined anywhere. We want A as a string or a variable.
Okay.
See, if I have it, this will give me an error. Okay, you want this to have throw an error. That is the case, then it will go to the log. This error block only.
No, sir, when I want to reject, I want some answer. When I want resolve, I want some answer.
Yeah, so if you can have it as a string, then this will log out the string.
So that will
Okay, so
hold only for the immediate then, right? I mean, the error part goes only if the immediate then has two um,
yes,
resolve and
yes,
reject
this is
statements.
already not just the immediate part. You can have it over here. Also.
Okay, so if
Not
even if one of
any
the
ones have.
so say if the first one did not have the reject
Yeah,
part and the second then had a reject part, so will the reject of the promise gets caught in the second then's reject?
yeah. It's like a chain. It goes through the chain, checks where there's a you have a the error part or maybe the reject part. Then it goes to. So if I have it over here,
So then also can have resolve reject, sir, like promise.
yes,
Okay,
So if we
then
run, if we run this, it'll still be the same result. A and one
it
undefined
will be
instead
the
of two
same
or two.
result. That means printed something like it distinguishes something like then error and then log error.
So the first then will be undefined then, right? I was just
In here, so this then will not exist.
if we
In
leave it
here,
like
this
that,
then will not exist.
it'll not. I mean, like,
But
what will happen? I mean, like, will it still
this will
show
not execute
undefined
at
for
all.
the? Okay, okay,
Not
okay,
execute. This then will execute with this callback function. Okay. And later on, however is the chain, you can have that. Okay, let me run it. So A gets printed. Where does the A get printed from? Ah, okay, this is the A that gets printed, and then error. Okay,
okay.
this gets printed, and then the normal flow of the function continues. Dot then, and there since there is no error here, the dot catch does not execute. So wherever it finds the error, it has that function executed, and then later on you can have the normal flow of the function.
So in this case, the catch doesn't get executed
Yes,
at
this
all.
one does not execute because since this error has already been caught null,
Got
the
that.
second
Okay,
error.
okay, okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay. So the
Sir,
basic
why
thing you
not
need
the
to
first
know,
one, sir? Why not the first one, sir?
there is no way. How will the first then
Eh,
catch the error? Is there a second callback in the first then?
So why use the word error, sir? The rejection says only A, no, sir.
I use the word error.
So what is the answer for this, sir?
Here you can see the answer. Not the promise. Two lines over here. A then error undefined.
Which is undefined, sir, here?
This statement line number 12 is printing undefined.
Yes. Line number 9 will not come, sir.
No, line number 9 comes for a success, but since we are rejecting it, it goes into the second callback. Okay, so here we have same statement over here. It's only that we are using a set timeout inside the promise. That's it. That's the only difference. Okay, set timeout. We are resolving it with statement one, the string statement one. And since we are resolving it, what will happen when the promise resolves? The then will execute, right? The first callback. Since it only has the first callback, it will execute. And this execution prints out statement two and then returns R. R is statement one. Then dot then again logs R, which is statement one. And for the next dot, then nothing is being returned, so it prints undefined. Okay. So two, one, undefined. Is it clear?
So what is the answer, sir?
Statement 2, statement 1, undefined. Statement 2, statement 1, this one.
Within 1 second, statement one will come back, sir. Within a second.
Then
Once
it will execute at 2 seconds. Everything will execute after the 2 seconds are up.
Sir, so even after 2 seconds, the output would have been same, right?
What are you
Like
saying? Even after two
no,
seconds?
instead of 10 seconds, if it was 2 seconds, then also the
Ah,
answer would have been same.
yes.
Because
Answer would be same. Yes.
no, sir. 10 seconds means it will come at the last one, sir.
Answer would be same.
First,
Even if we have 2 or 10 seconds.
no, sir. Statement two will come first. Then R is what's the value of R?
Statement 2, statement 1, then this particular then will print out undefined.
Whatever be the time, sir.
At 0 seconds, nothing will be printed. At 1 second, nothing will be printed. At 2 seconds, everything will be printed. And later on, anytime you take, everything is printed.
At 1 second, statement two will be printed now, sir. Statement two.
No. All this promise chain only happens when you execute. When this promise is resolved or rejected. Okay,
Can you
let
repeat that
me
once
make
again,
that very
please?
clear.
The last sentence that you just said. So
Yeah.
it'll
So
wait
the
for 10.
so only dot match this thing will execute only when the promise is rejected or resolved. Okay.
Right, right.
So that means when if I have a set timeout over here,
Uh-huh.
timeout. Okay. That means everything will happen after this.
Okay.
Like, only when this rejection function is called, then all of this function will execute. Before that, nothing will.
So it'll wait for
Dot
two
then
seconds and
means
then get into it.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. Dot then means that only when it is
Complete.
resolved or rejected,
Yeah.
then execute. That is the
Okay.
whole point of it.
Okay.
So shall we say that timer has no meaning in this, sir?
It has meaning. It has meaning such that at 0 second nothing will be printed. At 1 second nothing will be printed. At only after 2 seconds everything will be printed. Let me show that here. What happened?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Await is not used.
So immediately executing and passion not happening. So not okay. The month is over. This will be here. And then you one like that. You check and here. Yes. Sometimes with all these different brackets and arrows, It gets confusing. So let's go back, and then we were resolving it, right? Resolve with whatever, and then comma, whatever is the final. Okay, makes sense. We have this 2000, and then yeah, now it is doing 2 seconds, and then everything is perfect. Everyone's fine.
Yep.
Understood why this is only when this is called, then the whole execution of dot then the chains will happen.
Sir, the undefined is due to line number 12, yeah?
Yes, yes, line number 20. Because there is nothing being returned over.
Okay.
The first
And how would finally behave if there was a finally in between here somewhere? How would that behave? Say there was a
finally
finally
will execute
at
no matter what.
before line number 8 there was a finally. Then how would that behave?
Okay, so it will execute no matter what. So one thing that some we have seen questions from is like this, right? Finally, and then execute something. Sometimes you give a parameter like a value over here, right? Like x, but finally does not take any parameters. So this x is always undefined. So it's generally we eliminate this. We don't give any.
Oh, finally does not take any parameters, but if it has a
Yeah.
console.log of a string, that will be printed.
Yes. Or if you want to do some kind of computation over here, then also.
Is it a
Okay,
rule that
so
it cannot?
Could you
finally we'll
execute this also,
yes.
please? Could you execute
Yes.
this? Okay,
Finally
so
block.
finally will definitely get executed before any error and before any then.
No, not before. It is depending on the chain.
Sir, you can, if you could make one more finally block, so that after, maybe after, like
Sorry,
finally.
it will be in the same chronology that it is happening in.
Oh, what did I do? Fine then.
Sir,
Why is
first,
this not printing? Why is
sir,
this not printing?
sir, you have rejected it. You have like interchange raise with reject.
Oh,
So it's actually first thing would be actually resolve,
resolve.
and yeah,
Resolve.
now it's going
Okay,
to
I
count.
can. Right. Okay. Live example of the positions matters. Okay, I can see two gets printed. This line, this whole thing gets printed. Then this gets executed, finally block, and then whatever. Yeah, the basically yeah, the chronology matters. Look at the chronology.
So the return A doesn't go to finally, it goes to the dot then in line number
Directly.
11. Okay.
Yes. And if you take any parameter like x and then you want to try to print x, x will always be undefined and final.
Could we pass A as a parameter and finally?
Yeah. But again, the name of the parameters inside any block doesn't matter because this is a new thing altogether. It does not have access to the previous dot then A unless you return something.
Or so it just skips finally and then moves to the next one.
Yeah. So see, finally undefined. It always gets undefined.
Cool.
The
Yeah.
value.
And does it not matter where we put finally? We can keep it anywhere.
It matters as in that whatever is the order in which the execution happens, finally will execute in that order. So if I have the finally first thing, it will print finally the finally block first.
Okay.
However, there is a chain going. So suppose this is executing first, then finally, then dot then. Yes.
Okay.
Generally, it's kept at the end.
You mean after catch or before catch?
After catch. Finally is meant for things that happen irrespective of dot then or catch. So suppose some database changes are happening and you want to roll back the changes or commit the changes depending on the situation. Then you can have that in finally.
So after catch also, will it, let's say there is an error and catch actually gets activated, will finally still get
Yeah.
executed?
Yes, finally means that exactly.
Okay.
Finally means
Okay.
that executed no matter what.
Okay. Okay.
If I have it here.
So, and finally, it doesn't accept or return any value, right?
Yeah. True. Okay, so finally still gets executed. Okay. So do we move on?
So finally, it doesn't
Undefined is
pass.
coming after. Why undefined is coming after finally, sir?
Because of this A, I showed that finally does not accept any values.
So finally, it doesn't return anything also, right? To the
Yeah,
next
since
then.
you can't return anything.
Okay.
Think of it as a past, whatever was passed previously from the dot then or dot back previously, it will just let it pass through for the next dot then or dot. That happened in the previous case when I had finally over here. Then whatever was returned, this A was returned from the previous then, gets passed to the next one, irrespective of where the finally is.
So what I'm trying to ask is if there was a return statement inside finally, so that doesn't have any action, correct?
Yeah. So if I return, what do you see? And then I move it somewhere at the top, like right. Sure would be good. Okay, if I return, you see, this should not get the value. Okay, you can see this then this gets printed A. Sorry, this one gets printed, but it does not have the values. Right? Is that clear?
What if there was no return A in line number 6? If you could remove that, please.
Then this A will be undefined. This will also be this is undefined. Finally, basically is like a statement in which it doesn't matter what is being sent to it or what is being returned from it. It is just meant to execute certain computation or some kind of console log. That's it. It doesn't accept any values. Okay, I hope this makes promises clear.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Next problem we can go, sir.
Okay, again, something about arrays. There's an array, let ARR equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are deleting array at 2. So this line, this value over here, value 3, we are deleting. Now it's being asked what will be this log, array.length, comma, array at 2. What will be array.length and what will be array at 2? Any answer? Will
4.
deleting change the length of the array?
For
Yes,
n
B.
array of 2 will be 4.
It will not change the length. It will just delete the value at that index. So
Yes, you
length
are right.
will be 5
So
and
what
Option
will be
1.
array at 2?
value will be undefined.
Is it
5 comma
option 1?
undefined.
Undefined. Yeah, why this happens is because in JavaScript, arrays are considered as objects and in which you can have holes in it. Okay, you have might have heard this concept of holes in an array. Holes means there are no values in between. There are certain gaps in between. So whenever you delete certain object in an array, it creates a hole in that array. So this will have a value of undefined, but the length of the array does not change. Length of the array will change when you use functions like array dot insert, array dot pop, and so on. Only then it's the length of the array.
Sorry, in dot pop, the length will change, right?
Yes. Yes.
What's the answer
If
right
your
now?
answer will be 5 and then undefined. 5 undefined. Okay. Do you want to go more into depth in this, or is it okay? In week 2, there's this concept of holes in it. You can have certain values that are missing in an array.
So delete is an array operator, right?
What is an array operator?
No, is it like different from pop?
Delete.
Yeah, delete is
Delete is like manually deleting something, some value.
okay.
Array dot pop or array dot insert, array dot what else is there? Push, pop, shift, unshift. All these are array methods. If you use them, then the length of the array will change. But if you just use delete, which is like manually deleting something, some location from that array or location memory at all, then this does not affect the length of that. Okay. Any more doubt?
So it is not a null, it is undefined, right? I mean, when it creates a hole.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Sir, if we delete all the elements also, then the array length will be 5, sir.
Yes, that is correct.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sir, when we are deleting the index number 2, there is an empty space created over there, which is why the length is not changing, right?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So it's not like that if you use delete, then it will delete and then shift all the arrays. It just deletes this element, deletes the element 3. It does not shift the things at all. So there is a hole there. We call them holes in that array. And then the value will be undefined. That is the concept of this delete in between. Okay, let's move on. Pretty simple question. Which of the following is not keyword in JavaScript language? What are keywords?
Capital array should be there. So first will be false. That means
First will be false. Which of the following are not keywords? So you want me to keep it or not?
tick.
Reserved words.
Array is not a keyword. Basically, what are
Oh,
keywords first of all? Can anyone answer that?
Yeah, it's a reserved word.
Yes, it's a reserved word that has special meaning in a language and cannot be used as variable names, okay, or function names, or any other names. So you can use array. Can you use for as a variable name?
No.
no, for and
No,
continue
sir.
we can't.
No. Continue also can't. But undefined is it can be used. You can have undefined equals to something because does not have it is made like a data type.
The previous question also had undefined.
Sir, what happened to continue, sir?
Continue is something that we use inside loops, and whenever it encounters the continuous statement, it skips the iteration. So it moves on to the next iteration. Is it clear? Or do you want more explanation on that? Whenever you encounter a continue inside a loop, it goes to the next iteration. So anything below the continue would be skipped and move to the next iteration.
Sir, undefined is not a keyword, right?
No, it's not a keyword.
Because it is a data
Only
type.
for and continue. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, all the data
Basically,
types
you
are not
can use it
keyword.
as an
Okay.
yes.
Even number is not a keyword.
Yeah.
String
You can have number equal to something and then so on.
So,
string.
even state.
So does it
Yeah.
mean we can define variables with the name of array and undefined?
Yes, you can. Next up, which of the following statements are
Sir,
true regarding
sir,
you?
answer we are getting
Huh?
undefined now, sir. Answer we get undefined now, sir.
Yes, yes. You
That
can
means
get the
the
value
keyword
undefined.
now, sir. Answer
Keyword
we are
means that you can't use it. It is a reserved word. You can't use it as variable names. It is a reserved word in a language, and then you can't use it like that. Just you have to use it as a special meaning.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Next up, which of the following statements are true regarding you? First of all, let's discuss each and every statement. A child component has no direct way of accessing the properties of a parent.
False, because they have
False.
props.
Comments on that?
Yeah, opposite it true, yes.
Yes.
Parent
How can a
cannot
child
access
access?
child.
How can a child access? What is the way that we
Props.
use in order props? Okay. So there are something called as props in which we can give the properties of parent to the child, and then the child can render things accordingly. So this is false. Next up, a computer property only gets triggered when at least one of its reactive dependencies change, assuming the page rendering has already been completed. So that
Yes.
means the reactive dependencies. So computer property, no, yeah, computer properties depend on certain reactive properties like data properties. So only when one of the data properties that a reactive property uses or computer property uses, then only it gets re-rendered. Is that true or not?
True.
Yes, sir. True.
That is true. Okay, so that is the whole benefit of using a computer property, that you can use reactive property in it, and whenever the reactive dependency change, then this value gets decomposed. Next up, the view directive V model is used for two-way data binding.
That is true.
Yes.
True, sir.
Yes, sir. True.
We bind is
So,
one way, we model is two way.
yes, so,
So this why the statement assuming the page rendering has already been completed. So why that statement actually?
because initially the computed property will also render. Initially, when the page renders, the computed property also gets rendered.
Okay, so it means the page has already rendered and then some change to the page is happening. So that's when computed property gets triggered. Correct.
So that means before a page gets rendered, the computer property does not get triggered.
Initially, everything will change. Then only big question was it? It's a pretty last question.
Sir,
So we have a view application with JavaScript. Go ahead.
sir, in the previous question, the
Yes.
first option,
Hmm.
if if they are written a parent component has no way to directly access the properties of a child, then would that have
Yeah.
been correct?
Direct access to the child. You can still access the properties of a child using events.
Yeah, okay, sir. So that also would have been wrong. Okay.
Yes. Drops from parent to child, from child to parent. You have events.
Sir, child to parent we can access, sir.
Yes, both ways you can access. I mean, you can send some data through events.
Okay, sir.
So here we have a view application and a JavaScript and markup attached to it. Okay, so first just see what this is. We have an index in which ID is app. We have, what is this? Course. Have you heard? Have you seen this anywhere? Course. This is a component, right? We are making a component directly, and then we are using it. Course, and then colon course. We are passing a value using vbind course. What is this? True props, possibly. And then v if success. So that means only if this is success is true, then we are rendering this. Otherwise, we are not. And we are passing the course string to the component. There is another component, error component. We are passing the error string to this error. And then v else. That means if it is success, then show this. If this success is false, then show the error component. Okay, is that clear for the HTML?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt about this? Okay. So let's
Sir, the
check
word,
for
the keywords, course, error, the one that is within quotes, those are the components.
and those are the props, the value to the props they are passing. So error is the value that is being passed to the error prop.
That is vbind, right?
Yes, we bind and then we are sending it the value error.
Props means that we use props when we are passing, when we are trying to pass something from the parent to the child, right, sir?
Yes, this app component is the parent, error component is the child, course component is the child for this.
So let's just say
And we are
for the
passing data from app to the error component or the course component.
so let's take one course,
Hmm.
the component course in app.js.
Yes.
So in the from the index.html, course is then passed if success is true. Assuming if success is true, then
Yes.
the course, the first line of the HTML is going to
Hmm.
like the props is going to get passed in the template constant course in app.js. I'm just trying to figure that out. So if you can explain this part, that would be great.
Definitely. So right now we don't have the full picture as this. We just have the HTML. To understand this fully, we also need to understand what is going on inside the view component. This is part of a component, and we have to understand what's going on there. First of all, we are using vbind. Okay, why are we using vbind? Because when we use vbind, whatever we write inside codes, we write it as JavaScript, objects or data or so. So this course itself might be a data property that is being passed to the course. So if you see, let's take the course property, course object in here. We have a template in which we are rendering course.name and course.code. And we have props as course. Okay, so this prop is expected to be passed from the parent. All right, we pass the props as parent. So here we are passing this course prop and with the value of the course object. On the right, we have the object that we define in the parent and we are passing it to the course prop. Just think of it as attributes. In HTML, we have attributes, right? Every tag is an attribute. We define like a style or something using attribute. We can define that. And then we pass in what is the style of this, what is the data or whatever is what is the background color. We say background color, style dot background color equal to whatever color you want. So same way what we are saying, what is the course that should be rendered is this course object over here on the right. Can you make the parallels between that HTML attribute and this? So we are saying, suppose what should be displayed in the prop is the course object. And here you can see the course as should be given as a prop on the bottom, the course object. And in here we are rendering the course.name, course.code, and so on. Okay, is it clear? But we also need to know what is this course object. So this course object will be gotten from the view component, the root component. And same goes with the error. We are passing error and we are rendering error.code, error.message. Now let's look at the view component. This is the main thing. So right now, what we know, the course component expects course as a prop, the error component expects error as a prop, and both of these render the course name or the error name and the whatever is that error course code and error message and error code. Same with the course code and course name. That's what it is rendered. Let's look at the view component. That is passing, that is creating the data's course and error data. See, so initially what do we have? So the data property, we have course which has name which is empty right now. We have code which is empty. If success is true and error same, code and message both are empty. Okay, so this is the initial value of the data property. Next step, we are also saying what are the components. The course is the course component. The error is the error component. Okay, in this one, we are defining what is the components. Right. So this is the main thing that we're coming to. How are we populating the course and the error components? Okay, before we read this, we should actually see what the question is asking. Suppose we fetch the request to this particular way, one, and fails due to network error. What will be rendered by the browser? What it fails due to network error. So let's see what happens in the mounted. Mounted is a hook. You understand it runs when you have this component mounted to the page. So basically, on initial render, this function will automatically run. And then what are we saying? We are saying that there is a network error. What will happen when a network error is on fetch? We are saying const restore res equal to await fetch and then dot catch. What happens in the network error scenario? Will the dot catch
So
execute or not?
catch block will be executed.
Yeah, so this fetch statement itself will create an error, right?
Yes, sir.
Because it's a network error. So this catch will execute. Since catch is executing, we are saying this dot success equal to false. Okay, this success is a data property. This dot is success. That means this one, where is it? This success, this one is setting to false. This dot error code unknown. This dot error message equal to could not fetch data. So this is the final error that we are setting. And what will happen? Will this if resolve? Will this if res execute or not?
No,
No, because res.
does not resolve. It throws error, so it will not be it will not be executed.
That's right. Actually, I have also a question. I also don't know the answer to it. What will be the value of res after this? We are checking
But
if res, but what will be the value of res?
Some kind of object.
But sir, res will be like true or false because I think fetch the promise is
Yes,
going to get rejected. No, because only way a fetch will get rejected if it's a network error.
That is true.
So will
So
Sorry,
what will, yeah,
how do
go
we
ahead.
know there is a network error?
It says in the question. Fails due to network error.
Okay.
Okay. So the question that I don't know the answer to is what is this res object?
will the code get executed after the catch?
no,
After the catch, this code will
Yeah.
execute and then everything will execute because catch means you are resolving the basically you're catching the error.
Okay,
After
it's
catching the
only
error,
for
everything, yeah, it's a normal flow of the program.
no, it's only for await the fetch function that we have error that the catch gets activated. Otherwise, it will go for next.
Yes. So
So
this
if
line will also be
Regardless, it
Sir,
will go for the
sir,
max.
this
Okay.
res is just a variable, so I think it should go in if res, and then it's not okay, right? So it will go in the else part, and then the else part will execute, isn't it?
No, else part is inside the res.
So, but the res is not the resolve one. This is just a variable, right?
it's a
And we
variable. It's a
have
response
something, and we
object.
have something in resolve. It's not like it's not. We don't have anything, right? So in res we have some object, right? So if
Yeah,
res
RES
is
is
true,
typically it's called a response object. Sorry, the fetch
so
response object.
whatever it is, it's just, let's say abc is just a variable, right? So we have some object in res, so it will execute, right? If res yes, then it will go and check res dot okay no, then it will go in else part, and then it will execute, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
think
Yes, sir. I
res
also
is a
agree, sir.
boolean,
And so what
Sir,
is the
true
value
or
of RES?
false.
RES
If the
is
value of RES is a null, falsy value, then it will not exist.
sir. RES is network error. So it is a value network error. If yes, it has to go, sir.
Okay, so basically this will not execute, but I want to test it out. Actually, want to test it out. What will happen? Is it fine with everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, please, sir.
Let's have HTML code. Okay. Let's have a shorter version of this. I need to have some UCD in this. Okay. Other than that, we don't need anything. So I added the view to CD engine. In the body, I'll create a script. Let's have it after the body. And I'm writing everything over here.
So it should be option A.
Option A. Unknown code. Yeah, that's right. It will be option A, but I want to know what is this object, RES, when it is a network error. If it's a normal fetch call, then RES will be the object, the response object from fetch. But what happens if it's
okay, even if there is network error, yeah.
yeah, that's what I want to understand. So we have some kind of div, and then we have ID as app. Okay, new view. What are we having here? The view.
So
Nothing
if there's a network error, then shouldn't it prevent RES from even existing in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It should not happen. Then this will not execute.
Okay, sir.
So what is the output, sir?
Huh. Let's have it directly on mountain. That is something like that. And then in here we have dot fetch. I just want to know the, the value of this response. Okay, so on mounted, when we are mounting, I need to have the EL as well. And then when it is mounted, it should run this function and then log out the response. I will run it and then check the browser tab. First, I have to go to the network.html and check the console. Class is not a function.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sir, is this going to fetch a? Is this going to give a network error or a 404?
Let's see. We'll get that in the response. I think that is one of the things I was also thinking. Yeah, it's a network error. No, not about it.
The rest is not getting print logged, right?
So it is undefined. The response object is undefined. It goes inside the cache block, and the res object is undefined. Undefined is a null. Sorry, a falsy value. Okay,
But
so then it becomes undefined.
is that undefined the normal browser function? I mean, normally it returns undefined. Is it the undefined because of this res?
Because of this res, no. So if it would have gotten a value, then this would be the value, the whole thing. So suppose I want to go to Google.com, then it will give a value. No, it's not. Can't get.
So maybe IIT page it should give.
If it doesn't go there, why is it not there? Go to some. We'll get some cat funds. Loading this. What is happening? I don't see any output response. This itself is not loading as I was. We are not getting it. This website is down on the website. That is causing an issue. Um, Wanted to have some time pass. Okay, so never mind. I think I'm wasting a lot of time over here. Basically, this becomes a response object if it is getting a successful. It is not getting a network hit. That's the whole thing.
So the
That
So,
you can
sir,
convert using JSON and all. Yeah.
sir, hello.
Yes.
Can I ask? So in our case, in this the current problem, the rest will have undefined then since it's having a network error.
The test will be undefined. Correct. That's what we came out with. This is
So
undefined.
if
That's a
rest
network.
would be false, right?
Rest is false. Yes.
And then the else.
Another, go on, Anirban. Continue.
No, you please go on. No problem.
No, the if statement had only one, that is res. Else is not defined. So will it go into the loop at all? I mean, will it go into the condition at all?
No, it will check if rest, and if it's not the case, then it moves up.
Yeah. So in this case, it is undefined. It will go away, correct?
Yes. So only this error, this thing is the error object has this.
Sir, so whenever fetch rejects because due to network error, rest will be unknown, right? It will not be HTTP object.
Yeah.
Okay. So only when for other error, status code it will be an object, right? Other than network error.
So even if you get a 404, then also it gets a
No, it will be an
object
object.
response object.
What will it
Yes.
be? Rest.
Yeah, response object.
Okay.
Right. So in this case, we have the is success is false and the error code and message has been given. So that means what will happen is success is false. That means one of these will be is success is false, right? So the
VS.
V else block will execute. And error prop will be rendered along with the message. What will be the message? One more thing. We are using vbind over here. If we are using vbind over here versus we were not using vbind over here, what would be the difference? Right. Right now we are using
So,
vbind error.
so we
Yeah.
are
Go
using
ahead.
vbind, then if we will not use vbind, then it will take it as a string.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the literal
Yes.
error will print.
Yes. And it will give what will this give then? Error dot code will be undefined. This will be undefined.
Yeah.
Okay. So since we are using vbind, things inside the code are treated as objects or data types properly.
Variables.
This error, yeah. So this error is the variable error. So this particular error. So error has the code and message. Code will be error code was unknown and could not fetch. So here it will be displayed unknown and could not fetch. What will be the rendered by the browser? Unknown and could not fetch data. This part here.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, why is it unknown?
Unknown is the code. Here in this error part, in the catch block, we said the error dot code is unknown.
Oh, okay. We have defined it as
Okay.
unknown. Yeah.
And then we are rendering the same thing, error dot code.
Okay. And if this hadn't thrown a network error, then what would be the answer?
That is the next question.
Okay.
Now, consider the same view application. Suppose the fetch request goes to something and then responds with status code of 404. Here is the difference. 404 is not considered as a network error. It is not a network error. So 404 means it could go to the website, but it could not find the particular page that you were looking for. Okay, that has to be very clear because questions are asked on this. 404 is not a network error. It is page not found or some kind of status was returned at least. What will be rendered by the browser?
Last option.
So let's go back. Let's go back. In here, await fetch. This returns a 404. will it go into the catch block or not?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Everyone has to be very clear. 404 will not is not considered as an error. It is considered like a status code being returned and some kind of response is to return. 404 means the page is not found and you can return some kind of data with that as well. Okay, so to consider that data, we have to actually consider this promise as a success. The promise is considered as a success. That's why it does not go into the catch block.
So, sir, in this else block will execute, right?
Let's see. So if response, so this response is not false enough. This is a truthy value. It creates a response object. So this if response this becomes true, response data is equals to await response.json. Okay, so the response object that we got from the network, we have to convert that into a JSON file. And can it be converted to a JSON? According to the question, can it be converted to a JSON?
Yes.
It says body has course not found. Okay, that means this can be converted into a JSON. The body has something, right? The body is you can convert that into a JSON. So course not found, there will be. So if response.ok says if response.ok, then do this. Otherwise, do that. Response.ok. Do you remember when is response.ok truthy and when it is false?
200 is okay.
200 is truthy. Otherwise, it's false. Right now, what are we getting? Response.status
404.
404. Okay, so that means this is false. Response.ok is false. That means we execute the else loop. All right. And is success? Yes.
Constant data is equal to now could not found, sir.
Const data equal to
Could not found. Am I right, sir?
const data would be the object that we get from the body.
Course not found. Course not found, no, sir.
Yes, correct.
Then it is okay, no, sir.
No, we are checking response. Res.ok. We are not checking data. We are checking response res.ok.
Okay.
So that means this if success becomes false, this error.code becomes response.status. That means 404, and error message becomes internal server error. Okay, so same thing we're rendering the error component along with the status code and the internal server error. In here, if we go, we will get 404 and what are we messaging? Internal server error. So 404 and internal server error. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
JSON, sir, with
We are not doing anything with the JSON.
no, I'm just asking that. Data will be JSON with course not found. Like, we are doing rest.json, right? So what will that be?
Probably course not found. I don't know what the exact format would be because it should have a key value pair, right? I don't know what the key would be, but something like that. Course not found.
Okay, but it will work.
Yeah.
Sir, course not found is given to mislead us, no, sir?
Yes. There will be a lot of in questions. There will be a lot of things to mislead you. You don't have to be yourself.
Sir, this race now in that case will have course not found.
Yes, correct. It has a status code. It has a body in which it is written course not found. And what are we doing? We're setting the error message and code. Message would be response.status and error would be internal server. And that is what we are rendering. Any other doubt?
No, sir. No, sir.
Let's move on then. Okay, let's see. Longer promise this time. Which of the following shows the correct output after 20 seconds? Okay, read the question carefully, 20 seconds. And then we have we have a function promise1, which returns a new promise, does something. Okay, another function promise2 returns a new promise, it does something else. We have a promise all. It returns promise.all. Does anyone remember what promise.all does?
So
Anyone?
will that, so
Call
will that,
the all promise, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it calls all the promises, and then whenever all the promises get resolved, then it calls the dot then of that. Okay, so this resolve the res is the array of all the values returned from the promises.
Oh, it will store, sir. The promise one, if it executes first, then the rest will store
Yes.
that. Then when promise two
So
is done, then it will print both.
so dot then will execute only when all the promises are completed, so rejected or resolved. When all the promises are completed, then only the dot then of promise dot all will execute.
Okay, so if promise one executes first, it will wait for promise two to complete.
Yes, yes. And only when all of the promises are complete, then the chain happens. Dot then dot that chain happens. Okay, so this is the promise dot all, and we are calling this promise dot all. So whenever a longer statement comes up, just check what is being called first. So this promise dot all is being called first. So we'll go from here, promise dot all. Is that fine? We come here since the promise dot all function is called. We come here. This function returns promise dot all. Promise one, execution of promise one, execution of promise two, dot then. So before we go into the dot, then we have to understand what promise one and promise two execution happens. What happens when promise one and promise two execution takes place. Okay. So let's move on to promise one first. What happens here? Return, new promise, resolve, set timeout. So many different keywords over here, right? We are returning a new promise, then we are taking resolve, callback function. Inside that, we are using a set timeout, and we are calling the resolve function, and then we are logging out promise one is done. And that too in 2 seconds. What will happen here?
After 2 seconds, it will resolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say first
After two
promise
seconds,
to, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
No, what I was saying is first promise 2 will be resolved and then promise 1 will be resolved. It will wait there. I mean, the response of this promise dot all,
Oh,
we'll get both, right? We'll get both, but because it
yes.
is time given is 20 seconds, right?
Yes. It will get both,
Yes.
and then it
No,
will log.
seconds.
So promise 2 will get resolved first, right? Because 1 second.
It does not matter actually because it has to wait for this in the promise all.
Yeah, that is true, but from it matters because we are logging it out, right? We are logging the sample. Yeah.
First promise 2 will be resolved, then promise 1 gets resolved. Then it,
Sir, sir, when it resolves, it will not go to the other console or log itself, right? Will
Right.
it? Won't it come out of the?
Let me test it out also. I also little bit confused.
When you're done with it, can you just help me understand this particular thing? Resolve 1 or resolve 2 in brackets. What does it actually do?
Okay.
Sir, first one has to be resolved, sir. Whatever be the time, sir.
no, first it will be resolve 2, then resolve 1.
Maybe, sir. I don't know, sir.
What were we here? So after resolve, this will execute resolve one. And then just check the form. Okay, let me execute it.
So we have to do dot then something.
Done. So, but mainly I was checking if the resolve thing works or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, even after this resolve is called, it's not like a return statement. Everything gets executed even after the resolve is called. You can see after resolve is also printed, one is also
Okay, the
one is
log
printed
statement
from
is
the one.
gone.
So it's not like a break statement. It's not like that. It resolves as well, and then whatever is afterwards still gets executed.
Okay, but if there is rej with 3, then it will not reject that. If resolve comes first,
No, it's
yeah.
still
No,
let's say
after no,
RE.
sir, after res, if you write rej,
Only one gets executed. Yes,
yeah,
correct. Yes. So even if this is the one, whatever comes after the first one, REJ or RES,
yeah. So what is
I
the
try to have strings. Is, reject. I need a dot class as well. Okay, so after resolve still gets printed. What is this? Resolve. So for the first one, it's done. So the first one being called was resolved. And if I move it up the reject one, then the reject will be printed. So it does after resolve and then reject. Okay.
So basically, you're passing a value through reject or resolve. That what is happening in line 2 and 3?
2 and yes, we are passing the string,
Oh, okay.
and the string is then being given to the dot
Given to
in or dot dash depending on if it is resolved or rejected.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So even if there is a reject and resolve next to next line, 2 and 3, it executes only one.
The first one is
Okay. And it still goes on printing the fourth line. I mean.
correct.
Sir, so in the given question, we would have promise 2 executing first, then promise 1.
Yes.
But the
Promise 2 is done, promise 1 is done.
but in the array, what gets stored is 1 and 2.
Yes. Array depends, whatever is stored in the array depends on how you are calling this. So promise 1 is on the left, promise 2 on the right. So promise, the return value of promise 1 gets stored in the first position. Return value of promise 2 is stored over here.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
so that doesn't depend on order of execution, right? It depends on the
No.
order in which we have written this
Yes. Yes. So
promise
it's an
return.
array. Yeah. So
Yeah, okay.
makes sense. Place over here, what is the value? What got over here? Placed over here, whatever got the value from promise. Okay. At the end, you will get uh, promise 2 is done, promise 1 is done, and then whatever is the array, array has 1 and 2. Promise 2, promise 1, 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2. This one. Okay. So there was one more doubt that make you understand what is this promise and then brackets, right? Promise and then was that one question? I forgot who that was. Hello.
Why you probably skipping first?
Can you hear me?
I was asking why the comics please skipping and skip it first.
Why promise? Can you say again? I
I'm
cannot hear you
asking
properly.
why comics is executing first. Like why sitting out the comics? Skip.
Because inside the set timeout, we have this promise to as 1 second. Execute whatever is inside here after 1 second. And in here, we are saying execute after 2 seconds. 2000 over here, 1000 over here. So because it is 1000, so after 1 second, whatever is inside this set timeout function will get executed first. That is why.
Okay.
Sir, I didn't understand about that 1 and 2. 1 came earlier.
Which one? 1 and
Mm,
So one
in the
came as right.
options.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see here in the promise dot all, it takes in an array, right? It takes an array in which you are calling promises. Promise one is called, promise two is called. So on the left, you have promise one being called. So whatever is the value that is coming from promise one, what is the value coming from promise one? The value one, right? Resolve one. This is
Yeah,
resolve one.
yes, sir.
So whatever is the value, it just stays, comes on over here on the left. On the right, you're saying promise two and then call one. Promise one. So whatever is the value coming from that particular promise will be stored over here. That means one here, two here. Okay. One here, two here, because this promise one is calling this particular function. Promise one is calling this particular function. So whatever is the return value will be stored over here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Depending on where it is called. On the left is calling promise one. On the right, it's calling promise two. Okay. Any other
Sir,
doubts about this?
sir, promise dot all within bracket.
Yes.
Not given promise one and promise two. How it will print, sir?
We are printing over here. We are getting the
Yeah,
response
yes,
object.
yes. Whether it will come 1, 2 or 2, 1, sir. We are
Oh,
giving
that
some
one. That one is
array,
just
sir.
what. Yeah.
Without giving
Since
that array, sir.
without,
Giving that array, sir. Promise 1,
you have to
promise
give an
2.
array. Promise dot all accepts an array of promises.
Array is a must, sir.
Yes. You can have one object in that array, one promise in that object, one promise in that array, but you have to give an array. It expects an array. Promise dot all.
Okay.
Sir,
Sir,
if promise two was first and promise one was second element in the
Then
array, then it would have been 2 1. Right?
two ones.
Okay.
Sir, this dot then is waiting for both of these to be executed.
Yes, exactly.
That is why the
From
1 2 is coming being logged last.
yes. Uh, one two depends on the order in which we are storing the promises.
Yeah, that I
But
got.
uh,
Yes.
but dot then will only execute when all of the promises are done.
That means these two have to be logged first. Promise 2 is done and promise 1
Yes.
is done. Only then will we have the console.log
Dot then.
res. Okay.
Yes, correct.
One question: what is getting passed to the res?
The array of promises. So whatever is returned, promise one gets the resolve one gets passed here, right? Two
Okay.
gets passed over here. So that is
Okay.
an array of those things.
Sir, RES will consider as resolve, sir.
RES,
Will take as
yes,
resolve 1.
but you can consider it as the result, but the main thing over here is these names don't matter. You can name it anything. You can name it A, B, X, Y.
Okay.
Can you go back to
Sir,
the
this
VS Code,
question.
please, once? So here it is. So once it's rejected, it goes directly to the cache. If it is resolved, it goes to then. That's about it. Depending on the order where they
So
are appearing, 2
don't
and 3.
forget the second callback of them. Sometimes that is also going second callback of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
So promise always takes only one callback function, right? With 2 arguments, resolve and the second one for reject if it is there.
Yes.
Okay, so this res and rj are like the argument for the callback function inside the promise, right?
Yes. Yes. They are exactly that.
But this res rj are also behaving like a function because we are calling rj.
They are yes, they are callback functions.
Okay,
We
this
call it
res.
as a function.
So res rj they are also callback function.
Yeah.
Okay, so inside promise there is a initial outside function which is taking 2 arguments resolve and reject, and in turn this resolve reject are also functions.
Yes. Yeah, that's why we are using the particular syntax for a function being called, right?
Okay, sir.
REJ and then the brackets.
So this res and rej, they are kind of what will be returned coming out of the promise, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Depending on the status of the promise.
Yeah. And so this promise also can be combined with the call and apply, like how it happens in the arrow function or function call, right? We can.
That, that depends on the functions. Call, bind, and apply. These are for functions itself. So if the promise is inside a function, then that would be that what you said would be true. Right now, without a function, you can't change the context.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Uh, Hello.
Yes.
Sir, which promise would be executing first if both of them having the timeout of 1 second or 2 second, like both of them having the same time after
Whichever was
execution?
called first.
Okay, sir.
So if we have like this example, promise.
So at that time, it will go by the sequence of execution
Yes.
and how at what sequence they're called.
Yes. What are we doing? Set time out, right? Set time out. You can call the resolve function with a value of, let's say, 1 over here and give 1,000 here. And have another promise. And let's say 2. Okay, and then we are saying, let's have a dot then on both. Dot then. I mean, print console.log. Okay. Same thing over here. Okay. So in this, what is being called first? The first promise moves. The execution moves from top to bottom. That is being called first. And we have the same timeout for both promise one as well as promise two. So the dot then of this will execute first and then this will do the second. So 1 to 1 then. Although we have the same timeout. So whatever comes first, whatever is executed first.
Sir, is there any way you could go back to the previous code?
Lots of control webs. Yes, here we are.
Here, I am a little confused. I may have missed what you have said. Here we have res variable first, that's for resolve, and rej is for reject. Okay.
Correct.
But then when we are defining over here, we have written reject first and rej first and res first. So which one will be res and which one will be rej? Why was it after resolve reject?
Here we are just calling the function.
Sorry?
Because here we are calling the resolve rej or res functions. Okay.
Yes.
So, so whatever is being called first will be the value that is being returned. So rej is being called first. That is the second parameter, right?
Yes. Which
Okay,
is
so
reject.
the promise will be rejected.
The promise
That's
will
it.
be rejected just because we called rej first.
Yes.
There was nothing in here that was actually throwing an error, but because we called rej first, it was the promise was rejected.
Yeah. rej means rejecting, right?
Yeah, I mean because rej is anyhow the second variable,
Yeah.
and
If I
since we
remove this, same thing will happen, right? If I remove this, rej and then with reject. That's it. Same thing is happening. It's just that promise won't return rej as well as res both. It has to return only reject or resolve.
So how it works in sequence, sir? Because after resolve, that console.log is also getting printed. So I'm just confused, like how rej.
Everything inside a promise gets executed, and whatever rej or res was rejected or resolved, depending on that, that will be the value.
that means when we are calling rej, we can actually make the promise get rejected.
Yes. That's how we
And
have been doing this all this
and
time,
if
right?
res was first, then it would be a resolve promise, and it would have printed after resolve, and then it would print resolve.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But I have a question. So how does this after resolve is getting printed? Because it's a callback function, which means
Yeah,
once it
it's a
is invoked, it shouldn't return back to the same part, right? I mean, how does this console.log is getting printed?
We're thinking of this as a break statement or a return statement.
Yeah,
We're
because the
thinking of that.
third line, even though the third line was
Hmm.
uncommented, it is not getting executed, correct?
Yes.
So, so if
It's
it
not
is
like,
not a break statement, then the third
yes,
line should have got executed, right?
third line does get executed, but since it was already, this rejection already happened, you can't just go back. So basically, whatever was printed first, whatever was called first, reject or resolve, that takes the order.
Sir, then it
Then
will
why
go
does
there.
console.log get executed? Sorry. Uh, why does console.log on line 4 get executed?
It takes the normal flow, but
Mhm.
at the end, whatever is the first reject or resolve, that is being the status of this promise. That's the thing.
Agreed. If that is the status of the promise, like, is it like console.log gets executed first and then
Yes, yes. Console.log gets printed first. This is not printing anything. This is just rejecting the
right?
promise. So the only thing the print statement happens only after when I say the dot then or dot catch. That's when the printing happens. So everything inside the promise gets executed first, and then whatever was the value, I can print that in the dot then or dot catch.
Okay.
Sir, what will be the output of this code?
It will be after resolve, then reject with the catch. This way. After resolve, then reject. Okay, promises too hard. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to understand, like, because it's like set of rules, right? It's not like some things might feel like this is not logical. It is the other way. Like there are set of rules that has been defined, and then you have to basically learn those rules. It's like that.
Sir, line 7 is not getting executed.
Line 7 is getting executed. Yes, this he gets the value of reject, and then this gets printed out.
Okay, okay, sir.
And sir, if I, in case I, after line 6, I have another then will that 7 will also execute, or just the second then will execute and it's terminated?
No, it will still go to the cache. Since we are rejecting it, it will still go to the cache. So if I have it,
Okay, so
then
that means line 7 will also give that console.log, and then catch will also give console.log.
no, line 7 will not, since
No,
it's a
but sir, yeah,
rejection.
so reject, so second then is for reject only, right? The first one is for
No,
resolve.
second callback inside then. Okay, so you mistook my words. This is a second then.
Mm-hmm.
When I say there is a second callback of them, that means, so this is a success statement. A second callback of then, which I'll show, it's a statement for rejection. This is everything here has one callback. See
Okay.
inside the yellow brackets, we only have
Mm-hmm.
one function.
Okay.
Inside this also we have one function. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
in here
Okay.
this is for success. So it will still execute only the catch
Only
block.
catch.
Let,
All right.
let me show you. It will only execute catch block. But if I have a second callback inside them, so let's have a B over there. See, I inside the first then, inside the second then, inside the yellow bracket, I created a comma and then had the second callback. Okay, I'm creating a second callback like this, and I'm console.log here. Let's have second callback. Okay, and then I print out B. Okay, so notice the difference. it has a second parameter. So this is the first parameter, and then I say comma, and then the second parameter. When I say this B part is for the error or the rejection. Got it?
Okay, sir. So in that case, sir, that B will execute. And how
This will
about,
execute right
yeah,
now,
and then how
and the
about
cache
catch?
will not execute.
It won't,
Cache will
right?
not execute. Why? Because the error has now been mitigated.
Okay,
Error is
it's
now gone.
handled. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Okay.
handled.
Hmm.
After resolve gets printed, second callback, then and the reject is coming from the variable B. But this cache block is not printed. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Any other questions from this particular? Okay, so the value at the end was promise 2, promise 1, because promise 2 has one second, promise 2 has second 2 seconds, and at the end we have promise dot all. Promise dot all takes a bunch of promises in it, and whatever is the value, it gets stored in the res, and then we are printing it. Promise 2, promise 1, and 1 and 2. Okay. Next up, fill in the code 1 and 2, which can be used in Vuex store to update students' state variable with objects of students. So the students is a bunch of objects, and we have to fill that up, which can be retrieved from the database. Here, code 1 and code 2, we have to figure out what should be there. Okay, let's look at the store in detail. We have a store. Strict is true. I forgot what this does, or maybe it does not do anything. It's just a variable. Okay, yeah, just a variable. State with an object. Oh, state. No, strict true does something. Not sure what that does. Okay, someone please Google search it and tell me what this store, Vuex store strict does. Okay, let's continue then. We have student total is 0 at the moment. We have students. Right now, it's an array which should have a bunch of objects in it with the students. And we have toppers. So state is like your data property in Vue. That is the dependency that we keep track of, the data that we can use in different components. That is the state. And we have mutations. Mutations are functions that update the state. So by default, they get state as the first parameter, and second parameter can have the manual data that we want to give. So in the data, add data mutation, we are saying state dot students. That means the students that are in state equal to this data. So we are updating the students, this state students. Okay, so this is what add data is doing. We are changing the data to the new data we are. Is this clear? Mutation, is this mutation clear?
Sir, can you say that again?
This add data mutations are basically functions that update the state. Okay, and they get state by default. So we say state dot student equal to data. So whatever new data I'm getting with the add data function, I am storing it in the student's state. This one, this object over here. Right? Whatever new data I'm getting, I'm storing in this students. And next up, we are saying something.
Sir, state is the initial one, sir.
State is like the variables that I want to use everywhere. Those are the states. Mutations are functions that change the state, that update the state.
Okay, sir.
And we have actions, which are asynchronous, that trigger mutations or they commit mutations.
Sir,
Okay,
what is
in
strict,
here,
sir? What is strict, sir?
that's what I said. I forgot what this does. Anyone can Google search it.
So in the chat, others has explained.
Okay. Others has said something.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
In strict mode, whenever Vuex state is mutated outside of mutation handlers, an error will be thrown. Okay. This ensures all state mutations can be tracked. Okay, that's what others says. That means we can manually change the state, but whenever we do that, an error will be thrown. So we have to explicitly change the state using mutations.
Okay.
So we cannot directly do state dot students equal to data somewhere else.
Yes, that's right. So that means state.
Dollar store, right? You can't just go to state like that, right?
Yes, that's right. So this dot dollars.
So there is also one more doubt,
Yeah,
sir. When do we have to use dollar store? Like without dollar also we are using.
without all, you just use store. Whenever you are inside this same file and the store is available. So inside the same file, the store will be available, right? Inside the same file.
If you have a template, yeah, HTML.
Yes. So the store will be available. But
Okay.
if you're inside a different file, suppose a child component, if you're in that, the store
So
variable is not available. This object is not available there. That's why Vue insert this dollar store everywhere. So you can access them
like
everywhere.
so this is a JS file and we have a separate HTML file. Then to access
Ah,
we'll have to use dollar store, right?
so
So
typically we
actually,
use JS files. I'll just show you in an
so
example where we can
actually,
use that.
I too have similar doubt. I was trying to execute. Then, do we need any separate component to work with the store?
Ah, you can use you don't need to use a separate component, but we generally use different files for different components.
Okay, but browser itself is sufficient. There is no other separate component is required for this.
Yes,
Okay.
you can have everything inside the script file. Sorry, the script tag. You can have everything, but that makes it. If you make a sufficiently large project, then it becomes very large. Can't have everything in one file. That's why we separate it down into different JS files. Okay, right now I'll explain this dot store state where it can be used or not. Let's focus on the question right now. In here, we have to fill in what is code one, what is code two. You might have noticed this word async over here, async fetch data. Can we use mutations with async?
No, sir.
It should be synchronous.
Okay, so mutations need to be synchronous. It needs to be synchronous. So for any async, what do we need?
Action.
Any asynchronous code that you're writing, you have to write it inside actions. So this code one, you understand what should this code one be?
Yes, sir. Action.
Actions. All right. Next up, we are getting fetch data. We are creating a function fetch data with context. Context is what?
Context is to access the data and it used inside the action.
Yeah. So it is basically the whole store variable. Okay. So store variable we can get using context. And
Like so that we
on
can access the mutations also, right? If you have
ah,
context.
act, yes, actions can trigger mutation. That's why we need the whole context.
No, context. Okay. Context means it will have access to state as well as mutation.
Yeah,
Everything
state
else.
mutations, other actions as well. It can trigger other actions as well. We have const response equal to await this fetch. If response dot okay, const data is equals to await response dot json, and then we have to fill it the code to over here. What should we do? How should we
So
do this?
this will be context dot, I think mutation. What is that?
Commit context dot commit.
Commit. Yes, commit.
Okay, so we are basically getting a new set of data over there. We're getting a new set of students with this data. And we have to update this data with the students. We already have a function for that. We already have this add data. We just have to trigger this function to update the state. How do we trigger? We have the context inside action. We have the context. context dot. What is the how do we trigger mutations?
Commit.
Commit. Okay. To trigger mutations, we use commit, and then we pass the name of the function. So add data. And what else do we pass? How do we pass the value?
The data.
The data. And passing the value. Okay, so this will be like this. And to trigger what trigger action, what do we use? What keyword do we use?
Dispatch.
Dispatch. Okay, so you have to remember these two. If I want to trigger action, I have to use dispatch. If I have to trigger a mutations, I'll use commit.
Yes.
So code one will be actions. Code two will be context dot commit. Okay, context dot commit, add data, and then data. Okay, this is this question. I was gonna explain where do we use store, where do we not use store. So
Sir, can you
I
please
would,
repeat that dispatch part one more time? Like we use dispatch when we are invoking actions. Some functions written ended in actions.
yes. Suppose I have to call this fetch data. So I have to use the store dot fetch store dot dispatch and then imports the fetch data. Anything that is inside action, if I have to trigger it, I have to do it with action with uh, yeah, dispatch.
Sir, so it will be option 2, right?
Option two, actions. No, we are no, we are asking what will be here in code.
Oh,
Code
my bad.
two, here inside an action we are triggering a mutation.
Yeah, my bad, sir. I didn't see that.
So let's have this. I'm looking at view. It's and the view CDN. Alright, Vuex and view CDNs. In the body, I will have a div. Let's have a script. That's it. And then let's have a app purchase. New view would be here. EL hash app. And whatever I want to do over here. So suppose I have a store over here. What will be view new or is it just Vuex? We have state. Yes, we have a name. It's not flat. That's a state. Okay. Now, if I have to use this state somewhere over here, suppose I have a template. If I have to use inside a template, this state, what do I do? And first of all, let me add this as a store over here. Otherwise, you would not know there is a store available. So if I say, if I want to use it as a template, what do I do? The state. How do I write it? Anyone?
Store dot state dot cat.
So dot. Okay, so let's see if it works or not. So, let's see if it works or not. 1 second. 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 Okay. 1 second. 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 1 second Everything is being stored. Not access store before the initialization. Makes sense. I'm using store before defining store. So I moved it up and still I'm getting some kind of errors. So not define an instant but refer during when render make sure the properties reactive either in the data or the class. Is it the correct way of instantiating the store? No, it's not. Seems about right to me. Just a moment.
So can you also please check the index?
Central?
No, that whether it is correctly mounting in the index file. That's what I'm saying. Is there any issue in the index file?
Yes, so there is no element called app, right?
I've had that element here. I think you can't use it directly. I just maybe let's say dollar store. Okay, I thought we could directly use it. Probably dollar store. I'm still waiting in this.
Actually, I was trying to. This it seems very difficult to integrate. I don't know why. So here we are using the CDN actually, the uh,
Hmm.
online this thing for the component.
Sir, it is supposed to be this dot dollar.
Inside the templates, we don't use this stuff. Inside the templates.
So maybe the store should come before the template.
Should not be that
Because in
like all the
error
possibilities.
it says that reference error something is not found.
Yeah, it does work.
So store should be inside a component or listed as a.
Yeah. Let's see it this way right now. Let's have it. But nothing is just here. I'm looking somewhere. Store is not defined. Instance, but definitely remember it. Not. Let's see. Let's see. I think maybe let's change it to Vue 3. Vue 3. Let's see what happens. Still the same. Okay. Vuex is not defined.
Sir, could you write something in the HTML so that we can see whether that HTML is getting rendered? Not this one, sorry, index.html.
If it renders over here, then it renders over there as well, right? This is useful. This is and then let me also show them. HTML is being rendered, Vue is not being rendered.
Yes, so that is the reasoning.
Right now, I'm seeing lots of errors. HTML is being rendered. For Vue, it's saying the property or method dollar store is not defined in the instance, but refers to being rendered. Make sure the property is active either in the data option or from the class-based components. Okay. Let me try to do some other thing. Let me try to make a computed property out of this state. So computed, and then let's have the computed is will return the state first. store dot state dot chat. And then I want to render it the chat computed. Okay, suppose where this is now. I think they have made Vue 4 a little bit more strict about using state directly in the template. That's what I think. Because in Vue 3 I used to work, and then sorry, Vuex 3 it used to work. Okay, so not an
What
issue.
is the conclusion, sir? Like when do we have to use dollar and
Conclusion.
when not?
Conclusion is so that's what I was coming to. This was everything was coming to this main solution.
Sir, I think store
There was
should
this.
be
See, what
in a
I'm doing over here is defining the store variable over here. Since the store variable is over here, I have access to the store variable inside this.
so should we say store colon store? Store.
No, same thing. Some colon store is the same as store. Just this one. So since I have the store defined in the same file, I have access to the store dot state dot cat store dot state dot cat over here. What if I did not have this variable over here? I had this in a separate file store dot store.js. And I imported this from here. It's the same thing. I imported this from here. From store. I need to export it also from store and import. So
So that first scenario you tried now, it worked if you had used Vue 3 instead of Vuex 3 instead of both.
yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I was coming to. So Vuex 3 works because I had used that and it works for Vuex 3, but Vuex 4 it is not working. You have to make a computer. That is ideal scenario. You have to make a computer property that uses that. So does it. Okay, so what if I imported store from some another file and I export store here? Okay, I make a store here. I use this store in a index. Sorry, in the app.js. And one more modification I'll have to do is have to have type would be module. Anyone knows why I would need to do this?
Because there is an import shape.
No. So whenever you are using import or export statements, you have to make type module. Otherwise, it does not recognize the import export statements. So in the app.js, if I'm importing something from another file, do I have access to the store now? I still have access to the store. That's all. I still have access to this one because I imported it. What if I had a child form? Child.js.
So how you are able to import the store? You what
I
component?
Huh,
Oh, you
I had
okay,
the
okay,
same thing,
okay,
constant
okay.
store equal to, and I exported this store variable or object.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and
Object
now
of
I can
store
import
class,
this
right?
from. Huh, yes. And then in the child, I have export. So we have a template.
So asking this doubt, when you are actually working with this practice code or the project, should we use the CDN version of the Vuex in the index HTML file, or should we have something local actually?
The CDN is fine if you're using CDN, but problem with CDN is that all the code you'll have to write manually. It becomes little tiresome at the sometime. It'd be better if you use the CLI web method using white. That would be easier developer experience, but a little harder setup. Setup process is a little harder, but overall, it's easier at the end when the file becomes very large. Or local does not matter for that if you're using. This is my child component, and then I'm rendering something. And then I want to render this inside here somewhere. So for example, I have to say that okay, this is the child I want to import for child from child. Okay, and I want to render the child component over here. Also, one more thing I have to mention that this is my component that I want to render. Okay, now I should see this is Vue and the child. All the things visible. Perfect. Identifier store. So this should be dot slash. Node.js does not provide an export name default. So I'm importing and then using that store. Why is this error coming up? Store is not defined. For instance, store is not defined.
Now we need to use the dollar store thing.
So but that is saying in line number one itself. In the error message, I'm getting line number store.js. Line number store.js.
Uh,
Child.
Sir, what are we doing, sir?
We are trying to create different components and then trying to show where to use dollar store, where to use not use dollar store. So now all the errors are gone. So this is child, this is blue, this is blue. All right. So why are we using? So see, here I'm using store.state.cat. Why? Because I have the store variable or object present to me. I imported directly. I can use the store variable. All right. Right.
Yes.
In the child component. You were saying something?
Yes, sir.
We can use that. But in the child component, we are not importing the store. Are we importing the store?
No.
If if I want to use a computed property, computed, and then have that computed is a property, right? Not a function. Is a function, and then we want to return that same thing. Return store dot state dot cat. If I want to do the same thing and want to render it over here. Do I have the store present? Have I? I mean, it automatically imported it, but typically I don't want to import every time. Okay, so I don't have the store present with me. So how do I get the store if I am not having this imported directly to my component? Let's see what this shows. It will show an error. Like does not show the component at all, the child component. So if I want to have that everywhere, I can use the dollar store variable. And this comes with anytime you have to use the dollar inside outside the template, you have to use this dollar store. So this is available across every component. I don't have to manually import it from anywhere. I don't have to do any sort of trickery in order to find this. Whenever I say, okay, view has registered a store, anytime I show this variable, view register the store and view, I automatically get this store. So I can access the store from anywhere across any component. So now you can see it should be there, but it is not there.
So just
What's the problem?
one doubt to related to the setup. When you are executing this code in your local, you need node. Do you need anything extra on top of that node like Vuex or anything?
Right now, I don't even need Node. I'm just rendering a HTML page. I'm using this HTML page and I'm using the CDN links. CDN for Vue, CDN for Vuex, and then I'm just
Ah,
running this
in
HTML page.
case in
So I
case
don't
I
need Node also.
I do not want to use the CDN, how do I do the setup?
Uh,
Because
if you want to use the CLI method, you need to have Node installed, Node.js installed. That's it. You just have the simple setup. npm npm create view at latest. That's it. That will set up the scaffolding for you.
so node itself having everything inside it or Vuex because
Yeah, it has npm. It has npm. That is a package manager. It is something that you can use to install or download packages from the internet. So
correct.
npm is the one that installs Vuex, Vue, and everything for you.
But then using npm I need to install those separate
Node.
packages. No,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
no?
You have to say in the command line. You have to say npm install something.
Okay,
You have to
okay.
do that.
And also this is project specific, right? Whichever project I
Yes, that is
execute.
project.
Okay, 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 okay.
In this case, I don't know what is wrong. Cannot read properties of undefined reading state. I should have used Vue 3 because I don't know Vuex 3. Sorry. Let me do that. Let me use Vuex 3 because this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to Vuex 3 and then this is giving all sorts of errors for me. Now it says Vuex in part. What's this one? This link is working. Let me you choose this link. So now this child is here. So now you can render the child using this $. So meaning to say wherever you don't have that imported, whenever you don't have the store imported anywhere. In this child component, you don't see the store being imported anywhere. You still have this injected from Vue, this $. Store. And also, if you don't want to use this, you can directly render from the template. You can directly say $store dot cat dot store dot state dot class. You can directly say from here and then render.
What is the significance of this
This
there?
anytime you have to use something inside the computer properties or methods or any other sort, you have to use this.
Okay.
This is something that the component, this is component specific data.
Okay.
This is what this signifies, but you have to use this. to access all these data properties.
Even in app.js, we used this, right?
In app.js, we use, see, suppose you have a state, not a state, what do you call the data properties. This to access the data, you use state, right?
Yes,
To
sir.
access the data, you use this. Similarly, to access the specific data from the view instance, you have to use this.
Yeah, we are not using this dot store here.
Hmm. Why we can still use this cluster? We can still use this
But
promise.
without that also it works.
But without that, it also works. Why? Because the store was already imported. This dot dollar store is a proxy for the store variable. This
Okay.
this object is a proxy for this object, which is injected across all the components.
Okay, sir. So we don't have to use dollar wherever we have imported the store, and maybe in the child
Yes.
components where we have not imported, we'll have to use this dot
So
dollar store.
typically in the child components, you don't want to import the store everywhere.
Yes, sir.
That's why you have to
Understood.
use this.
Now it is clear.
If it is not
All
too
right.
much to ask, can you do a small recap on this one? It went for a long time, so
So the only thing I did a lot of debugging because I was using Vuex 3 and now I suddenly use Vuex 4. That aside, the important thing over here is we define a store somewhere. Okay.
Mhm.
We import that store inside the root view component and then we say store is store. That means now my view instance now knows what is the store. And whenever we do this, we have a special variable dollar store available to us. We have this dollar store available to us to use in any other component. Okay, this is a proxy for the store object.
Mhm.
That means whatever I can do with the store object, I can do with the dollar store or this dot dollar store. And depending on where we are using the dollar store, we can either use dollar store or this dot dollar store. Whenever we are using inside the templates, we can directly use dollar store and then access the state, I can go state.cat or you can use dollar store dot dispatch or dot commit. You can do that. And whenever we are using it out of the templates, suppose for computed properties, methods, what else are there? The hooks, any hooks, we have to use this dot dollar store in order to access the same object. So dollar store inside template, this dot dollar store anywhere outside the templates.
Okay.
So,
Is that
sir,
fine?
can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Sorry?
Hello. Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Sir, does this mean that if we have the Vuex store and the Vue root component defined in the same file, and we are trying to access the Vue store from the root component, we do not need to use
Yes.
we need to use dollar store, right? Or this dot dollar store.
No. What are you saying? You are
I am
saying
saying
the
in the
store is
same
there
file.
instance of the file. Huh.
I'm saying
So
suppose in the
if the store
app.js
is there in the same file,
we have the
then we
store,
don't need the store.
right? We don't need dollar store.
The dollar store, yeah, the dollar store is the proxy for the store. Proxy means it does the same thing, but it is now there in a different kind of way. Right?
Right. So if we have both of them in the same file or the same, yeah, same file,
Uh,
we don't need to use dollar store.
yeah, we can use either. Depends on what you want.
And if we are using, if we are trying to say, if we are within the Vuex store and we are trying to
Hmm?
change, say, some state variable or something like that, in that case,
Yes.
we are using context.
Yes. Sorry, inside the store. Inside the store, we have to use the. What are you saying?
When do
Where are
we
you?
not use store and we use like context or commit or dispatch? We don't use store.
we use store everywhere. Inside the store, we have, suppose we have a notation. Okay, we have change cat is a mutation. What else does the cat do?
Uh, but but sir, in question 8 we didn't use store. Like it was always commit or something like that. We didn't use store.
Oh, that was inside the mutation. Oh, that was inside the action. That was inside the action state.
Here we don't use
That,
store, right? We only use context or state.
yeah. Context is also like a proxy for store only.
Okay.
Again, here you get the context. And then let's change the cat to the mutation. We get the state, right? State. No, that is state dot cat equal to. Suppose in the actions I want to change. Okay, so context dot or just context is basically like a store only. Context dot what should I use to call this?
Commit of
Commit
change cat.
of change cat. And then I don't need any. I need it. I have to change that. Then it will trigger this function. The context is the store itself. And sometimes you would see this in the questions as well. So this is destructured. If I have the curly brackets over here, this is destructured. And then I destructure it into commit. And then I can directly use commit. What does it do? From the store object, it extracts the commit function or commit method, and then I can directly use the commit. Are you aware of this destructuring syntax? That is also possible. And how do I trigger it? Suppose in the child component, I have a button. And I want to what should I do in order to trigger that action from here, from the template? What should I do? I have a button with the name cat.
Store dot dispatch.
So add click would it be dollar store or store? Yeah.
Dollar store.
Dollar store. Dot dispatch. And then the name, I forgot the name. Action. Okay, so add click, it will trigger this. And let's test that out. Have a button. Uh, what happened? Unknown mutation. Oh, was it unknown mutation? Dispatch. Did I say dispatch only, right? Did I say commit? Why is it saying unknown mutation?
It is actions.
It has to take context.
What were your suggestions? What if I say commit? Unknown mutation by actions. Did I save everything? Store is saved. Is the store saved? Store is saved. And then have it simply dispatch only. unknown mutation change factor. Okay, let's make a function. In here, if I want to trigger, I should use this dot dollar source dot dispatch. From before, we have mutation, we have actions. Can anyone see anything wrong with that? Is it action or actions? Actions only.
So without that destructuring, can you do context and see whether that
You
works?
can use that. You can use that.
Sir, you should take context on commit.
So the issue was, I'll tell you what the issue was. I had this as mutation. This has mutation. This was keyword was wrong. That's why I was unknown mutation. Right? So the mutation name key was mutation, but I should have it has mutations. Yeah. So this is fine. You are understanding what is happening. Like the child.js, I'm using this. Whenever I have to use it here, I have to use this dot dollar set. So if I'm directly using it inside the template, I can use dollar store or dispatch and then the name. I'm using inside the template, I'm using directly dollar store or dispatch. What
Change
happened
that
again?
name of the function.
Name of the function. Yes. What is happening? Auto complete. Locations. Okay. So now if I change it, it works. Right?
Yes, sir. Sir, could you please explain the destructuring as well? Like, there was one question previously.
So destructuring is something.
Difficult. I could not
So
understand.
destructuring is something like that. I have an object. I have object. Equal to it has some keys A, B, C. In the value, I have another key B, C, D, and I have a value. Okay, these are as right now as strings, but it can be objects as well. On the right, it can be objects. Also. So right now I'm saying, so I want to destructure this object. I want to say I just want to grab the ABC key of object. So I would say ABC equal to object. Okay, I think const ABC equal to object. So what it is doing, it is grabbing the key of ABC and storing that into a variable called ABC. Better if I do it in a different side. So are you seeing what I'm doing? I have an object. Inside that object, I have multiple different key value pairs. So I just want to grab the key or the value of whatever is ABC. So I will say I want to ABC, I want to destructure it such that it will grab the ABC of that object. So that's what we are
ABC.
doing. That's what we are doing over here in the company. So this context, just think of this context. Context would be an object like this, right? It could have some dispatch functions in it. It will
No, sir, it will not
dispatch
have,
function in it.
it will have only commit, right? This
It will have a commit. No, it has multiple different objects in it. It has a commit function. It has state. It has all bunch of different things, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you see it like this? This the commit function over there, the commit variable that I'm getting. It is something like this.
Okay, sir. So we are only
A bunch of
taking the
more
commit.
things. But I just want to grab whatever is the object for commit. I just want to grab that. So what I'm doing this something else. Const commit equal to this context. That's what I'm doing over here. That's what I'm doing. So it is just grabbing this particular object, and storing in a variable called commit. Did
Okay.
you understand what's happening?
So we can only commit it now. If you are taking only commit,
Yes.
we cannot access state
Yes.
if you are destructured.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. And
So
for
if I
mutation,
just need the commit,
yes, sir.
if I just need the commit, then only I do this. Otherwise, I take the full context. There are questions like this. That's why I have to explain that.
And for mutation, it takes a state object, right?
In mutation, it takes the state. Yes.
But we
Just this
don't.
one.
There is nothing to destructure over.
Yes. You can still destructure it. You can still destructure the cat. So you can directly
Okay. Okay.
this, and then instead of the
The
cat
data,
over
if
here.
you want.
So this is a general term in that you can do the destructuring. This same thing you can use. Okay. Anytime you get an object, that object can be destructured into different parts.
So what is sublime, sir? Sublime.
What is what?
You say sublime something, sir.
No, I did not.
I couldn't understand, sir.
Okay. So that is the destructuring.
So when you say destructuring, it is like taking the different parts of an object. That is what you were saying.
Yeah. Specifically in here,
Oh,
I'm just grabbing the commit part of the context object.
okay.
Something like in the Java, we have serialization and deserialization concept related to that, right?
Yes,
Not
yes.
aware of Java.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Instead of saying context dot dispatch or something, I put it in bracket, it automatically comes.
Yes. So it automatically grabs that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So a long detour from the questions.
Sir, what is difference between dispatch and commit, sir?
Dispatch is used for actions. Commit is used for mutation. Anytime you have to trigger a mutation, you have to use commit. Anytime you have to trigger an action, you have to use dispatch.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So in here we already have the answer. Yes. So bunch of simple questions. Which of the following statement is true regarding local storage? Tell me. The local storage for a given domain automatically gets cleared after the system reboot. Does it get cleared after a reboot? Local storage.
No, sir.
No, no, no.
Okay. No. Local storage objects for domain and its subdomain are the same. Are they?
No, sir.
I think they are. Domain is Google.com and subdomain. Maybe not. Maybe not. One can store JavaScript objects after stringifying it in local storage for a given domain. Can we do that? Can we store JavaScript objects after stringifying it?
Yes.
Yes, we can stringify it, although it might lose some of the functionality, but we can still stringify it and store it in a local storage. A local storage is not supported by Internet Explorer. So we always bash on Internet Explorer being slow and all, but it still supports local storage. So the only thing that is right over here is this. Okay, so the subdomain and domain are different, considered different for local storage.
The data stored is different, right? You can subdomain can't
Yes.
access. So what
Yeah.
is a subdomain?
Subdomain,
Example.
I think, let's have Google search on it. Uh, Gemini is giving an answer. These are the domains. Okay, shop.example, blog.example.com. So something like sheets.google.com, slides.google.com. So those are different subdomains of
Okay.
google.com. Next up, which of the following statements are true regarding Vuex? Long discussion about Vuex. Let's see what we saw. Vuex provides state management functionalities for the Vue application.
True.
Is that right?
Yeah.
True. Vue application cannot be built using UX. Is that right?
False.
False. It's an optional thing that we can use in order to simplify state management. Actions should mutate states instead of committing the mutations. This one, tell me.
We have to commit the mutation.
Wrong.
This is wrong. Action should trigger a mutation. That means you should commit a mutation that changes the state. Getters in Vuex comes handy when computing a derived state of a stored rate. I did not talk about getters, but in Vuex session that we had, we talked about getters. So getters are basically like your computer properties in Vuex. Sorry, Vue in Vue. They are computer properties that are dependent on the data. Same with getters. They are dependent on the state. So anytime the state changes, the getters also get recomputed. Okay, so is it right or not? Getters and Vuex come handy when computing a derived state from stored data.
That
So
is
what
true.
is derived state, sir?
Yes, so it's, just think of the same as the computed property in Vue. Computed properties are dependent on the state, right? That's
Yes, sir.
not the state. The data property. Similarly, getters are something that are dependent on the state in Vuex. So
Okay, we
this
are
is correct.
getting value from the state, right? So
We are getting value from the state and we are rendering that value. We are changing that value accordingly. So if the state changes, then only we are recomputing the state of the getters. So which of the following statement is false? Use of HTTP verbs is generally discouraged while defining REST API
true.
points. Is it? Is it true?
Like,
HTTP verbs are
like get
discouraged
to
while
is
defining.
not.
What it is doing, use the HTTP verbs is generally discouraged. No, it is encouraged because get, post, these are all HTTP verb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
they are
not used in
encouraged,
end.
right?
Sir, what is HTTP verb, sir?
So get, post, put, patch, delete, these kinds of HTTP. These are called HTTP verbs.
Sir?
Get, put, post,
Ah,
patch,
oh, yes,
these are
yes, sir. Yes,
HTTP
yes.
verbs.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know about, not sure about this. Your public LinkedIn profile URL is an example of permalink.
Permalink means it linked to some username, like which
It
should
is
not change.
permanent link.
I think
Yeah.
it is a permanent link it is referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think false, right? Because we can change it
The
can be changed, right?
URL, maybe
URL.
go to
It
the
will
No,
change
link.
if
no,
you
no, sir. That LinkedIn profile URL, I don't think that it can
Mhm.
be changed. It is
If
tagged to the
I change the
ID.
username, if I change the username, then also.
No, it is. See, for some person it is fixed, right?
Yeah, but
Your
I change my username, will it change the URL?
okay. Basically, it gives the ID. Did not try that the way you are saying, but I think the ID remains same, even though if you change the, because in the URL it I think, okay, need to see. I think on the URL.
Yeah, we'll have to actually go in such way questions won't be asked in exam. Okay, a request is cacheable in general when the response can be regenerated just after seeing the request URL.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right?
Yeah, I think that is true.
Yeah, that is true because
That is
yeah, if
true.
I just
True.
get the
True.
URL line, I can understand what data giving it back. If it is same response every time, it can be easily cached. Wix is an example of CMS. So anyone knows what Wix is? You might have seen the YouTube ads,
Which, yes.
Wix.com, and so on.
So what's a CMS?
CMS is CMS is a something management system.
Content management
Content
solution.
management system. Yes, right. Content management system.
So
But
Wix is a CMS.
Yes, Wix is an example of CMS.
then what is false, sir? All the statements are
I
correct.
am not sure. I'm not sure. I think,
So the first one is false, right?
yeah, I think first
It's
one should be false.
encouraged. It's encouraged actually.
No, sir, in the
It is
endpoint we
generally
shouldn't use,
encouraged.
but like we can't. I think the professor said like if you want to access the students, the URL should not be get students. It should be students, but the method should be get.
Oh, discouraged while defining yes points.
Like the
It
verb should be
works.
get, but
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's keep this on hold. Let's check the answer what it is. Then we'll come up to a hypothesis of what why something is correct or not. So this one is a little bit on the vague side. All the examples.
maybe option B is wrong.
Mhm. Consider the following application where the markup index and app.js is given. Okay, so we have certain router. This question is about routers. We have this index app. We have a router link and a two is given. Okay, two and the name is given as home for the home router link. Two, the name is given as root. And with the params of SCA equal to 50. And this is the root link. And we have another router view. That router view is where you see all the content that is generated by the router. We have a home component that just displays this is home. We have a fruit components that displays this page is about the dollar route dot param. The route acts the same way as we talked about the dollar script. Same thing. It acts the same way. We can access the route directly from here. Dot params dot first name. We are rendering this, and we have two routes. The slash, which is the name, and the component that is being rendered is the home. We have a slash fruit, and then param name is fruit, and the component is fruit. And we are registering the routes, we are registering the base, and in here we are just saying routers. That's it. What is rendered inside the router view for home and fruit routes respectively? For home route, it is pretty simple. What will be it for home
Home.
route? What home component? Home component is pretty simple, right? This is home. What is rendered inside the router? So we are asking what is being rendered here inside the router view over here. Okay. So home component is still the same. This is home. That's all being there rendered. For the fruit component,
Fruits. Okay. There is no nothing mismatching.
router view for home and fruit routes. For fruit routes, we don't have a colon name. So what should be rendered?
Nothing is matching for fruits, right?
Nothing is matching, right? We have no. We need to match slash something. That slash something is not there in the fruit route.
It's there in the right in the second line, third line of the code. If you see, go above in the first image, the params is given apple, right? Fourth line, yeah, below the cursor.
Okay, so they should have mentioned what will be rendered when the links are clicked.
They mentioned the
That
links name, home and fruits. The link name.
okay, home and switch. Okay, fine. So we have when I click this, the router will go to the name, whatever is the name over here, fruit, with the params of apple. Okay, they're giving the params as apple in this fruit itself. So the params dot f name, this page is about apple, right? This page is about apple. That will be displayed. So the params define what will be the parameters of the whatever we are routing. In this case, we are routing to the this component with the params of apple as the f. It will be apple. This is home. This page is about app.
Can you
All right.
scroll up, please?
This one or
Further
the
up. Further up. Yeah. Below the params, there is fruits written over there. How does that actually get
that is the
displayed?
one that is displayed when the router is displayed. So this is hidden. Everything here is hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So when we write a button,
Mm-hmm.
inside the button, at click, everything is hidden. Hidden. Whatever we write outside it. Suppose I'm writing this. There was a child component.
May I ask the further question? Probably both are related, and then you can give an explanation.
In here, whatever
No.
is written over here, that is displayed.
What I mean to ask is, if we go back to the question, there is a const home and there is a template defined. Const fruit is having a template, not fruits. So is there any relevance to that, or it doesn't really
Oh,
matter?
no. It doesn't really matter. It's just what is displayed on the link button.
Uh-huh.
That's it. This
It's
is
the
what is
name
being
of the
displayed.
button of that link.
Name
It's
of
only
the
the
button.
name. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what is name?
This one. This is yeah. So in routes, you can either mention the actual route, that's slash something, or you can mention what name I have to route. Okay. So if I mention the name, I have to also define the name over here as well in the routes. It says name is root. Okay. You see, name is root. Then you can directly say what name of the component I should route to.
So router link and routes are to be actually correlated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if in the router link, if you had directly written to and slash fruit
Yes.
slash
Yes.
f
That
name,
would.
then we
Yes.
wouldn't
That
have.
would work.
Then we don't have to use name, right? Route.
Yes. Yes. Name is when you are defined a name for this route. If you have not defined a name, then the name would not.
Okay.
So why we are not use parents in the home, sir? Like we use in the home.
I could not hear you. Can you speak a little bit louder?
Why we are not use parents in the home, sir? Like here we use parents on the plane. Why actually use?
Are
Why are
you
not
asking
using?
why have we used params over here?
Yes. Why not in home?
Okay, if we have used to set up the params, usually what do we do? Usually we have a route and then we have the params like this, right? Like here. This is right. But if we are directly navigating without giving the actual route, actually giving actual slash something, we have to define this inside a params, the actual the params inside the params object. If we were directly navigating it through the slash fruits slash something, then we did not have to give the params.
So both are
Right?
okay, right? You can use any of them.
Both are okay. This is just one way.
But the advantage is we are able to fix f name as Apple, right? Even if we don't.
Yes, that's right. Even if we did not actually go here, we set the params as the f name, params of f name alone.
Otherwise, it would have been dynamic, like only when we enter it.
Yes.
So also, what is the base?
Base is just the if slash is given, base means that will be the base value. If something else was given, then that will come on top of everything. That is the base. Base means the what will be before everything. Think of it like that.
No, like if we as soon as we open the application, it'll be there in slash, right? That is the
Yeah.
base.
Yes.
Like before even we click any of the routing.
The home would be the base.
Okay, if you have written base as slash fruit slash name, then it will show the fruit component, right?
It will show the fruit component. Not sure about that. Can you test that out?
Okay.
You'll have to test that out on your own.
So, but for base, we always give only single slash.
You can change it, change the base to something else. Not sure how that will affect the actual paths.
Okay.
Try that out. Okay, try that out and then we'll
Sir,
see.
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm really sorry I didn't get this. Really, I mean, like, how is Apple coming about? I get that you explained it, but I didn't get it. Will you explain now, or should I come
Apple,
back to this later on?
yeah, it's fine. See,
No, what
the
I'm not
fruit
getting is that
component.
params and fname. Root dot params is supposed to give me the whole URL in the address bar, correct?
The root.params is supposed to not give you the full URL, only the params that we defined over there, the colon that we defined over
Sir,
there. The root.params will only give you that.
what is dollar root going to give me, sir?
$root is the root object, router object.
And where do I find it, sir?
When you create a router, this one, or this one,
Sir,
the
sir,
routes,
sir, sir,
huh,
sir. Suppose we have this
this one.
URL there in the address bar seek.online degree.ac.in till 151. Is this going to give
Hmm.
me the dollar root in your address bar, sir? In the address bar that you're displaying right now?
What were you saying again?
I'm saying, sir, if you look at the address bar,
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
one, yeah. So if I
Hmm.
have to write dollar root, will this represent the whole part of it or some part of
No,
it?
no. You can have that using $route.url. So route is an object in which a data about the routes is being stored. Current route, what is going back, what is one step back, what is one step forward. It is not just a string. It is an object containing a lot of different data. And one of those data is the params. One of
So,
those data objects is the params.
so
So
will
DOM
dollar
contains
root
a
dot,
lot of different things.
sorry, sir, I keep interrupting you. I apologize. So does dollar root dot params will give me the entire URL address bar, the whatever is
No,
written in the address bar?
route.url. Let me just confirm that. So you get this. So what is the VX? Okay, reference. It's router. The root object a router. What are we looking for? We're looking at this, right? For the route object. This one. So it says router. And so, see, these are the properties. The $route.path. This has the string URL in it. The path. Parents has that all the objects that we defined in key value. Query has that question mark something, what you write in the question mark, and some lots of different properties. Yeah.
So dollar root params will give me something in a object notation, like in terms of a key value pair.
Yes. So parents is an object where we need it. Parents is an object in which we get whatever. So suppose I have defined the colon F name. So this is a parent. Colon F name is a parent. If I also define a slash colon something else, slash L name, last name, then I can get the both of them using router.parents.sname, router.parents.lname. You can get those things.
So will it print fname dot apple or fname colon apple or fruit colon apple?
What are you saying? So
I'm saying
suppose,
if I write
give an example.
root dollar root dot params fname,
Hmm?
or
Hmm?
write dollar root dot params, will it give me fname colon apple within?
Right now it says fname colon. Yes, that's all. Params is this particular object. It will print out if you write down router.params, it will give you this particular right now. Okay, that's name colon app.
Okay, so then this says this page is about dollar root params f name, and since like
Params.
that is f name is the
Ah,
key, it's going to give me the value of the key. It will become
yes,
apple.
yes, right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, by dollar route params, we are accessing this object in router link.
Yes, right.
Okay. And this routing is different from Google, that web browser routing, right?
Yes, this is happening inside Vue.
Yeah.
It's happening inside single page application. So this all the routes are handled internally by Vue. You can see the URL being changed, but internally it's not sending any new HTML page. It is just taking data inside. That's it. It's not actually routing on a HTML page kind of view. Everything is handled internally by Vue, all the routing. Right, should we move on?
Yes, sir.
So next up, 13, consider the following Vue application with markup and JavaScript file. Okay, so we have some ID app, a component. Total is a component which has param, which has props, over with the over props, edit score with a what is this on handler. We have a custom event, add run event. All right, custom event, and then when that custom event is triggered, we call the function add run. Is this fine? All right. So next up, we have a bunch of components in. We have one total. Total score is the total score, and which is expecting a prop total score. Over, it has some kind of styling, and then V for run in over. This is for every run in an over, we are rendering the run. So basically, over would be an array, right? Over should be an array in which we are rendering all the runs and expecting an over prop. The edit score also same. It has a button in which we have a add click handler, which is emitting a custom event called add run event. So this event, you can see it has the same event, add run event. So that means when I click this button, an event gets emitted and then move to the parent. And the parent can accept that event. Whenever it gets the event, it will run the add run function. Okay, is this clear with this? Emitting of events and then catching that event on the parent side. Okay. So those are the components there. Now let's check what is actually happening. Suppose the application is running on the local host, what will be rendered by the browser when the user visits the URL, this thing, for the first time? When the user visits it for the first time, what will happen?
So what is excluding button?
I think they want, I mean, not to press the button without pressing the button.
Okay.
Not really sure.
Okay, that
Let's see.
add ransom.
Yeah. So when you visit the it for the first time, what should happen? We have a view app, we have a bunch of components, and we have a computer property and so on. So we are visiting this, right? Localhost 8000. And what are we seeing? We have to see this thing. We have to see this, right? This will the thing that will be first seen. The total over and edit score components will be seen, and the props that are passed will be decided by what is initial value. So initial value, let's see what it is. Over is a array with one object, one value, 100, and count is true. Components we have decided. These are the components. And this is the computer property total score. Okay, this we won't be seeing right now. So at the end, what are we seeing? What is being passed over to the components? To this components, what is the total score right now?
Computed.
Total score, this dot over dot reduce, AB, A plus B, 0. What will it do? This dot over is this array, right? It takes A and B and returns A plus B. That means
100.
it sums up all the values of this array. So right now it's 100. So this will show 100 total over here. Total score is 100. Next up, what is the over? Over is the array 100, right? The array, the over is this array with one element as 100. That will also be passed over. And then when it is passed over, it will run this over component, which is span V for run in overs. Run in overs means one element in over. Are you okay with this? V for run in overs. That means one element in the array over. So the first element only has one element right now. So the first element would be 100 and then this slash 100 slash. That's it. Is the over component okay?
You were mentioning the score is 100. Where is that 100 coming from? Total score.
100 is coming from so first of all, let's see where this total score is coming from. This total score is coming from the prop.
Correct.
Okay. Total score and then total score. Fine. Where is this total score now coming from in the root, the parent component? In the computed property.
Correct.
Okay, so we are returning total equal to this dot over dot reduce. Over is the array of
Right.
array of elements, array of numbers,
Right.
and we are using reduce over it. So we are taking A and B, and we are returning the sum of A plus B. So at the end, you will get all the summation of all the elements in the array.
Okay.
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 So this right now has only one element, so it's getting 100 as of
100. Okay. Okay. Clear. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, what is AB, sir?
AB are one is called the reducer accumulator and one is called I'm not sure what it is called, but essentially what is this? A is basically values that are actually computed, returned values, and B is the new value that is coming up. Okay, so what it does, just think of it as taking two values from the array or taking one by one values from the array, and whatever is here, you are storing back into A. Okay.
Array has
So right
only
now,
one element, no, sir, 100.
so if it has one element, then it will only take one element.
Then
Other
where
will
is
be
A
zero.
and B will come from?
Other will be zero.
Okay.
Suppose the application. So what will be the total score will be 100 and the current over is 100 and then slash. Is everyone okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Consider the same view application. What will be rendered by the browser when the user clicks on the button add run 6 times, excluding button. No, just click on the button 6 times. Let's see what happens when it clicks on the button. So when the button is clicked, it emits an event, custom event called add run event. Okay, so that same event is being received by the parent. V on add run event, and it runs the function. Excuse me. Okay, so whenever the button is clicked, an event gets triggered. That event is then accepted by the parent, and the parent runs the add run function. What is the add run function? This dot count. So it is asking this dot count exists or is it true or not? This dot count, is it true? Right now, is it true? This dot count is true. Okay. So this dot over dot push 6. That means the overs array will have another element in it with 6.
6 means at the end it will do that, like append, right?
So let me write it down. It is 6 times, right? Add run 6 times. So let
So
me
does
write
it
that
go
down.
into a queue or a stack when you say push?
Which means on the right side at
Okay.
the end of the array. So right now it's 100, and then we push in 6. Okay. This dot count equal to not this dot count. So now count becomes what? False, right? Count becomes false after one click. Is this okay? This dot count will not be shown. Count becomes false. The next time you click, what will happen?
Count will be
What
false.
will- Count will be false, so it will go into the
else part.
else part. Okay. So now we are pushing 4, and then it becomes true again. Now again same thing repeats over.
Sir, how it has become true, sir, after pushing it?
So this read this line. What is this
This
doing?
count is not equal to this count. Am I right, sir?
Yes. So what does this do? Not false. This true. Right?
True,
Changes
sir.
the false to true. Okay. So that it is flipping the true false.
Which we are referring, sir? This count on the left hand side and which count on the right
This.
hand side?
So the right hand side, this is assignment, and this is the value. So you are saying the count equal to the previous count. This is the previous count. On the right hand side, this dot count is the previous count and then changing it. Right?
Yes, sir. It will not be same. Yes.
So 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 600. So this will be the final output. 100, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4.
The
Is everyone
four
okay
part,
with this?
the six part, first 6 and 4 are clear. On the next 6, why does it come back? Because the score is the same?
No, it depends on the count. If this
Yeah.
dot count is true, then it pushes 4. Sorry, if this pushes 4, 6,
6,
otherwise
else
it
it pushes
pushes
4.
false.
So
Yeah.
100 plus 6 is 106. So the second time when it comes out, it pushes 4.
No, it's not 106. Nothing has been changed in the array.
Uh-huh.
The array is as it is.
Oh, okay. Or the count is the
Okay,
only
so
thing.
it is just pushing it to the end of the array. So 100, comma 6, comma 4, like exactly like the way I wrote it.
Sir,
It is not adding anything.
sir, every time, no, sir. This count will not be equal to this count because 106 is the second row. This will not be equal to 100.
The
Then
count
it will
is
become
more of a
Count,
true.
boolean, is it?
count, no,
Count
count
is
is
a
a
boolean.
boolean. Count is a boolean.
Boolean. Okay.
Count is true false. Count is boolean. Is everyone clear with that?
So it's alternating. Okay.
Over is an array. Count is a boolean that is being switched true or
Okay.
false each
Okay.
time it
Okay.
is moving.
Sorry, my mistake. My mistake. Yeah. It's a boolean. Yeah.
Okay. So that means 100, 6464, something like that.
130.
That that will be the count. Total will be 130. Not wrong. 130, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And this will be 6464. Okay. So the last question, which of the following statement is true regarding local and session storage? Both local and session storage maintain separate storage area for given origin. I think that should be true. It is not possible to access individual key pairs even if the keys are not. What is the second one? Is it possible to access individual key pairs?
Yeah, we can access if we know the keys.
Yeah, so you can always set key, right? Local storage dot set key, get set and get. The second storage never gets cleared unless the user releases manually for a given object. Is that true or false?
That is
That
false.
is that is false. Session storage gets over as soon as your session gets over. Browser, if you close the browser window, then it gets over. None of the session or local storage can be inspected using the browser developer tool. That is, of course, wrong because you might have seen it. Okay, so only thing that is false, what that is true over here.
First one.
This is the first one. Both over storage and storage vending separate storage area for given. Okay, just check the answers. Okay, some might be wrong.
So this has a end date actually. Tomorrow is that.
Is it a graded assignment? What is it?
No, this is a mock.
Okay.
No, we don't know what the answers are.
Okay, I have the previous year's questions. Like this. How do we know which one is which? Let me compare side by side. But the problem is again the user interface. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, yes, it is working. So right one is the new one that we just did. Left one is the old one, which I don't have the answers to. Okay, now I get the answers to. Okay, so let's see. Here we have statement 2, statement 1 undefined. Statement 2, statement 1 undefined. Correct? 2 is 5 undefined. 5 undefined. Third one is array undefined. Array undefined. Fourth one is computed property only gets triggered and view directive view model. That is also correct. Next question we have unknown could not fetch data. Same thing here. Unknown could not fetch data. 404 internal server error. Okay, here promise 2 is done, promise 1 is done, and 1 end. All right. Spend a lot of time in this. Please remember this how promises are created. Resolve, reject, dot then dot catch. Okay. Vuex. We have actions and code context dot commit. Actions and context dot commit add data. That's also correct. One can store JavaScript objects, one can store JavaScript objects. That's not correct. Vuex provides state management. Getters in Vuex comes handy when computing a derived state. So we have one wrong answer over here. Which of the following statements is false? So your public URL, public LinkedIn profile is URL in the example of permalink. Any opinions about this?
Yeah, LinkedIn profile URL it changes, no?
Sir, I still think one is the correct answer, sir.
I also feel like one is the correct answer. Basically, verb is generally discouraged while defining
Sir,
response
verbs are
text.
encouraged, sir. They're always encouraged. If
So
you're going to be.
one point of view that we heard was it is asking specifically about endpoints. That means so inside the endpoints itself, don't write get users or post users inside the endpoints itself.
Oh,
That
all right. So he's not telling, he's saying that don't say get user, post user. Okay, got
Yes.
it. Nice
Inside
one.
the endpoints. It's not a nice one. I mean, like, it is quite confusing. If the question should clarify the
No,
thought.
we'll have to change our orientation, sir. Our thinking orientation will have to change. Actually, we fell for the best match. Actually, we should have thought, I should have thought a little more, I guess. Okay, so, all right. It is a
Yes.
good one.
But anyways, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like it is a good one. I feel like it should clarify more.
Sir, what is permalink, sir?
Permalink means it is permanent. It does not change.
That means
It is a permanent.
LinkedIn profile URL changes. It is not
I think
permanent.
it does because it just comes. It is very LinkedIn specific. So
Yeah,
let's not let's not get too bogged down with this particular example.
yeah, we
The
can't
first,
remember this in exam, like
Yeah.
website.
the
Anyway,
first
same
one.
question will come.
Can you explain the first one again, please?
Yeah,
The
first
option,
one is
the
that
use of
they're asking
HTTP
use of
verbs.
HTTP verbs is discouraged by defining API endpoints. That means we are saying don't use HTTP endpoints such as uh, API
Post get
slash
and post,
get
yeah.
slash users or API slash post underscore users. Don't use them.
Sir,
But in
what is
reality,
Wix,
they
sir?
are.
Sir, what is Wix?
This
WIX?
is a example. Is a website in which you can create your website. It's a website which helps you create your website.
Okay.
So coming back to this one, so it is encouraged, is it? We can use post, get, and all these things.
No, it is this.
See, inside the body, you can use post, get, and all those things. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
But in the endpoint, get, post, and all should not turn up. That's what the question actually made. I was really impressed.
Can you repeat that once again, please? Inside the content, we can use a get post. This
No,
if we,
inside the header. Okay, the
mm-hmm.
body of the header. So
Mm-hmm.
inside the header, not body of the header. Inside the header. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you have to specify the type of verb that you are using.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that can be get, post, and all for APIs. That is
Okay.
allowed. That is actually very much encouraged. I actually fell for that. But
Okay.
the question is saying that while defining the REST API endpoints, how does the REST API endpoint look? It looks like slash v1 slash students.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you start
So
giving student, post student, and get student, and all those kind of things, right?
right.
So what we should not have is like student slash get student or student slash post student or patch student, update student. Those should not be there. The REST API should be very clean.
There is some suggestion on the query params that earlier days we used to use question mark and then query param.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the recorded session, professor advised that not to use the query param, but directly use the value and query. If I'm not wrong. That's something on the endpoint.
Sir, what is REST API?
API is an API that adheres to the REST standards. So the standards are if you're using endpoints should be stateless. It should be what else are there? So the way you construct APIs should be you have suppose you're getting users. Okay, so you should have one endpoint for your API slash users. And then you have, if you want to get a user, you use HTTP verb or HTTP method get in order to get a user. If you want to send a user or post or add a user, you use HTTP post in order to have that same endpoint, but send a different kind of method to it, and then you post it and you add it to the database and so on. So basically, um, your verbs are encouraged, your use of HTTP methods are encouraged, get, post, put. Rather than on the same endpoint, you can use multiple different methods. and achieve different results. As in, get would get you all the data, post would post a data, patch would change a data, and so on.
So REST is that guidelines, sir.
Yes,
Just
it's
set of
guiding.
rules, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Guidelines on how to make a good URL, API URL.
Yeah. Yes. There are other kinds of uh, guidelines as well.
APIs.
Soap would be one. What
Yeah.
were
So
you talking about? So this is just one kind of thing. Yes. So this is the conclusion. Your public LinkedIn URL is an example of permalink, but okay, let's leave that. Not not required. Okay, let's see the next question. This is homepage. This page is about Apple. And this is right, the router. You get the params. In here, total score 100 and current over 100 slash. In here, 130 and the same 6464. And last one, both local storage and session storage are mentioned. Okay, so we were almost right, apart from one question. Yeah, this is
So
it
for
for the
the last
session.
question, what is the option? First,
Answer.
first
Yeah,
one.
so this
Okay.
correct answer is both locals and session storage maintain separate storage areas. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss?
Sir, there is one. There is concept called slots. So I don't know quite because none of the lectures it was covered or the screencast.
It is in the previous recorded session. Not recorded, sorry. A live session. One of the live sessions, slots were covered. Slots,
Slots,
props.
slots were covered. Like in which
Yeah, slots, props, and events.
can I know? Like, can you please share
You
the
have to
link?
search for the live sessions, but I'll just give you the link for it.
Live sessions in this term, sir, or
Playlist.
previous term?
Yeah, this term itself. This term itself. Yeah, I'm live. So just go through this. I think in either week or so, just scroll through it, you will get to know wherever you are discussing components, right? I think week 3 or 4, slots and props were discussed. Either week 3 or week.
Sir,
sir,
can you?
in yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sir, I have one question regarding slots. Can you just discuss that one?
Yeah.
So if it is not important, I wanted to leave. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
go through it later. In general sense, this mat to, I mean, it's not complex or anything, but it is huge content, sir. The syllabus is very vast. To the JavaScript we started with, then slowly it is getting into Vue, and I mean overall syllabus content is more actually.
Yes, it is. The thing is, we have to be ready for both the project as well as some of you might need to might want to have internships as well. So you have to have like both kind of theory knowledge as well as practical knowledge. It's like that mixture, and at the end it has become a vast syllabus. Yes, I agree. JavaScript itself is very vast to cover it in 2 weeks, and the third week you are starting you.
Yeah, things are
So,
getting
but
jumbled up. Yeah,
but this
yes,
is
sir.
some kind of thing that we have to juggle with because that is the whole concept of this course to get you ready with the project as well as with the theory so that you can move on with your internships or such if you want to.
Sir, quick question. We haven't done anything about week 8, like class security part. That's not like
Weekend is just theory.
normally no questions don't come from that part. It does it?
It comes, but it is just theory, nothing to explain as such. Let me see. What is weekend? Yeah, it is GraphQL, API designing, Java approach, integrate Vue with class. Token-based authentication. Yeah. So token-based authentication is explored in the API part, the Flask integration, making the live session. As well as this theory part, there was nothing from our side that we could explain much more than the professor already has. So we did not take any session for that. This is something that you just go through it, read through it, and these are the just bunch of rules and so on that you would have to understand. Just have to know about, not understand as such. Right. That's why we did not take any sessions on this.
Sure. So, one last question. If
Yeah.
I were to now go and revise everything, because in the evening I'm planning to revise Math 2 again, what would you say are important things to keep in mind when doing that?
So starting off from JavaScript, promises are important, both dot then dot catch as well as async await. Then a little things about JavaScript, like how array function use. What is array dot reduce, array dot what else is this map, reduce, filter, sort, these methods, array dot push, array methods. What are some kind of object methods, object dot something, object dot entries, object dot keys.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, no, not just this, we have view part as well.
Yeah.
So this was just the JavaScript part. From view part, take everything. View is not that complex. It is how you create a view instance. Then afterwards, what are different kinds of the directives? V if, V else. What is the difference between V if, V else? No, what is the difference between V if, V show?
The
Other than that,
visibility,
what are
right?
event handlers? How are the V bind and V model? How are they different? This is the basic of the directives. Then you come into different kind of computer properties, methods, and so on. So those are the very basics. And after that, once you are done with the view basics, you go to view router and Vuex. Vuex is pretty simple. You just have 3 or 4 different properties: the state, mutations, actions. How do you trigger these functions? Then in router, you have the some more things. Then there are params. There is uh, what else is there? Yeah, query parameters you have. There are a bunch of more things in router. How do you display something? Yeah, in router also, how do you, so suppose you have, how do you match the routes? If you have a child component within something, within a route, how do you match that route? So those are the important things about router. And so week 7, week 8, API design, those things, theories you have to know, as well as local host, how this local host session storage, sorry, not local host, local storage and session storage. How do they work? How do you get objects from that? And so on. So these are the most of the things that we will cover.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, someone raised their hand.
So can I share my question screen, sir?
Yeah, just a minute, I'll stop streaming.